Chapter 416. With this, the problem is back to square one. Without the support of Qianyuan Jianzong, the Chen family would have to save for at least hundreds of years if they wanted to open up the real demon world. Because the development of the real demon world is not relying on Chen Daoxuan's power alone, but more relying on the huge forces under his command. Just like intelligence, the Chen family's information about the real demon world is almost blank. The Chen family doesn't even know who the main enemy of the demon court is. How to lay out in the real demon world. There are many similar problems. In short, without the support of Qianyuan Jianzong, it is almost impossible for Chen Daoxian to lay out the real demon world in a short time. Even if he breaks through to the Yuanshan stage now, he can't do it. Thinking of this, Chen Daoxian stretched out his hand and said, I wonder if I might be fortunate enough to invite the sect master to come with me. Hearing this, Fei Chengshi's pretty face flushed slightly. She stretched out her white and tender plain hand and gently held Chen Daoxuan's palm. My pleasure. The two of them looked at each other without saying anything. Finally, Chen Daoxian made his own choice. It is inevitable that the Chen family wants to truly unite with Qianyuan Jianzong and marry the concubine Chen Shui. No one can replace this. Whether it is Chen Daoxian marrying Qi Yao, a disciple of concubine Chen Shui, or Chen Fuxing marrying a direct disciple of Qianyuan Jianzong, it is impossible for the Chen family and Qianyuan Jianzong to be completely united. Only when he and Fei Chenxue combine can these two behemoths unite. The two of them clasped their hands together lightly, and then slowly let go. Whether it is Chen Daoxian or concubine Chenxue, they are both seniors with a high level of cultivation. The two of them have a long life expectancy, and they are not in a hurry when it comes to matters between men and women. On the contrary, whether it is Chen Daoxian or Fei Chenxue, they all want to cultivate a good relationship before marriage. It was because he and Fei Chenxue married for political purposes. So the two of them knew better that, to a certain extent, the future relationship between the Chen family and Qianyuan Jianzong would depend on his relationship with Fei Chenxue. If the relationship between the two is harmonious, the integration of the Chen family and Qianyuan Jianzong is bound to go smoothly in the future. If not, the Chen family and Qianyuan Jianzong may fall apart, or even turn against each other. Seeing Chen Daoxian make his own choice, Fei Chenxue looked at him with different eyes, and said softly, What are you going to do? Don't lie to the sect master. Fei Chenxue shook her head. You can just call my name. Hearing this, Chen Daoxian was stunned for a moment, and then he said how about Gu calling you Shui Er? Hearing this name that no one had ever called before, Fei Chengshi's pretty face blushed slightly. She nodded and made a sound like a mosquito. Okay. With the permission of Fei Chenxue, Chen Daoxian smiled and said, Shui, this is what I think. Next, Chen Daoxian told concubine Chenxue about his previous layout in the true immortal origin realm. Who knows that Fei Chengshi's face was quite surprised after hearing this. You mean when you were in the Zifu period you already laid 2 chess pieces in the Qingqiu demon country? Right, Chen Daoxian nodded. Not only that, Qi Tong and Qi Ling, the 2 big monsters, also brought back a Dao Law at that time. With this credit, plus the 2 people's original Zifu peak cultivation base, it is estimated that the 2 have now been promoted to Jin Dan repaired it. The Qi Tong and Qi Ling in Chen Daoxuan's mouth were the 2 Zifu-level world monsters who were enslaved by him with their soul imprints in the true immortal origin realm. Up to now, in Chen Daoxuan's Sea of Consciousness, there are still the imprints of the souls of 2 world demons. In other words, the other party did not break free from the soul imprint. Thinking about it too, although the secret technique of Soul Seal has lost its brilliance in the Phoenix Meteor realm with the decline of the Imperial Beast sect, it is, after all, a stunt of an ancient sect. How could it be so easy to be cracked by 2 Demon King-level demons? If this is the case, then the momentum of the Imperial Beast sect will not be so huge. The Demon King of Jindan Cultivation Base, a hint of joy flashed on Fei Chengshi's face. There are only a few Demon Master-level demons in the Qingqiu demon country, and the Demon King-level demons are already a big demon on the side of the suppression side to the Qingqiu demon country. Hi, wait. Unexpectedly, Chen Lang, you still have such a hand. It was just a fluke. Chen Daoxian smiled. Fei Chenxue glanced at him and said with a smile, Since Chen Lang, you have made arrangements in the Qingqiu demon country, this time we will completely take down the 4 major demon kingdoms opposite the Wangxinghai Passage. The 4 great demon kingdoms? Chen Daoxian frowned. As far as he knew, the strength of the Qingqiu demon nation was not strong. Among the 4 major demon countries, it was only one step stronger than the extreme night demon nation. Whether it is the Great Yuan demon nation or the Lion and Camel demon nation, they are much stronger than the Qingqiu demon nation. This can be seen from the number of demon master level demons in the 2 demon kingdoms of Dayuan and Shirtua. The most powerful Great Yuan demon nation, the demon lord level world demon alone, has more than double digits. As for the Lion and Camel demon country, there are fewer demon lord level world demons, but there are as many as a dozen. Only the Qingqiu demon nation and the extreme night demon nation had the fewest demon lord level world demons. And the demon lord level world demons they possessed were only single digits. If it wasn't for the threat of the Qinyuan sword sect being faced by the 4 major demon kingdoms, the Qingqiu demon kingdom and the extreme night demon kingdom would have been divided up by the 2 demon kingdoms, Dayuan and Shirtua. Seeing that Chen Daoxian was very puzzled, concubine Chenxue said with a smile, "Of course it's the 4 major demon kingdoms. You wouldn't think that my Qinyuan sword sect has only been sticking to the real demon world channel for so many years and did nothing?" Hearing this, Chen Daoxian looked at her in shock. "You mean?" Concubine Chenxue nodded. "Like you, my Qinyuan sword sect also has some key layouts in the Great Yuan demon country and the Lion Camel demon country. As soon as the time comes, I can easily control these 2 demon countries in hand. Although compared, even if the 4 demon kingdoms across the Wuxia Pass are united, they are far less powerful than the Qinyuan sword sect." But Chen Daoxian didn't expect that the layout of Qinyuan sword sect was so far-reaching, to the extent that it could change the course of the 2 strongest demon kingdoms, Dayuan and Shirtua. Thinking of this, Chen Daoxian's expression suddenly cheered up. "Great, if we can take down the 4 major demon kingdoms and integrate them into one force, then we will have more bargaining chips to fight against the demon court. Who knows?" Fei Chenxue shook her head. "Although the 4 major demon kingdoms are not weak, they can't even compare with the second-rate sect in Xianyunzhu. If you want to join the alliance against the demon court, you will probably get all the money you can get. There is very little right to speak, and we have to continue to expand our power." Heard. Chen Daoxian nodded. He knew that what Fei Chenxue said was right, that the forces that could fight against the demon court were definitely the huge forces united by countless demon nations in the real demon world. If you want to gain a firm foothold in these forces and have enough power to speak, it is not enough if your strength is too weak. Chen Daoxian estimated that at least he had to have a force comparable to the first-class sect to occupy a place in the anti-monster court alliance. These are things to come later. Our goal this time is to completely conquer the 4 demon kingdoms, and by the way, we will collect greenwood steel to refine the greenwood cauldron. Hearing that the Qingmu Ding was being refined, Fei Chengxi's eyes first lit up, and then her beautiful eyes curved into 2 crescent moons. She knew that this was a manifestation of Chen Daoxian's trust in her. The other party really knew the refining method of Aoki cauldron. Although Fei Chenxue didn't know how Chen Daoxian obtained this refining method, the fact that the other party could tell her the secret itself represented a kind of trust. And trust is slowly built up between the 2. There is no trust in this world that can be achieved overnight. All trust is accumulated little by little. At least she now has a good start with Chen Daoxian. The next day, Taizhou. The 2 figures secretly passed through the True Demon Realm passage in Taizhou. This is the second time Chen Daoxian has come here. The last time he passed through the Taizhou passage, he participated in the competition for the treasures in the True Immortal Origin Realm. Only this time, his goal is to completely control the 4 demon kingdoms. Pass through the real demon world channel in Taizhou. The first thing that catches the eye is still the majestic Weiyang Xianqing. Chen Daoxian came here in secret this time with concubine Chenxue. Since concubine Chenxue held the Qinyuan sword sect master token, the journey was naturally unimpeded. In addition, the 2 of them are both in the world realm, and if they really want to confront each other, the world monsters of the 4 major demon kingdoms are not necessarily the opponents of Chen Daoxian and Fei Chenxue. With such strength, Chen Daoxian and concubine Chenxue, who were both daring and talented, naturally did not intend to mobilize other true monarchs of nascent soul to pass through Weiyang Xianqing all the way. Chen Daoxian and Fei Chenxue have completely stepped into the realm of Qingqiu Demon Kingdom. This was the second time Chen Daoxian came to this place, and it was the first time for Fei Chenxue. The territory of Wan Xinghai is extremely vast, and there are so many channels in the real demon world of Wan Xinghai. As a concubine Qinxue, she is a small passage in Taizhou, so naturally she won't let her worry about it herself. In fact, for so many years, the Taizhou passage has been guarded by a Yuanying elder from the Taizhoujiang family, and Qianyuan Jianzong. Speaking of which, the main guard of Weiyang Xianqing is not even Qianyuan Jianzong, but the Jiang family in Taizhou. It can be seen that Qianyuan Jianzong did not care much about a small Taizhou channel. In the Qingqiu Demon Kingdom, high in the sky, a spirit boat flew quickly. On the spirit boat, Chen Daoxian and concubine Chunxue were in the same room. Seeing Chen Daoxian slowly withdrawing his energy, Fei Chunxue exclaimed, "Your body training method is really mysterious." Hearing this compliment, Chen Daoxian smiled bitterly and said, "Shui Er, are you trying to say that my Dutian demon god real body is too resource-intensive?" Seeing that the idea was exposed, Fei Chunxue smiled lightly and did not refute "You don't know. Although this body training method is inherited from Wan Xinghai, I found that it is very different from other body training methods." "Oh, what's the difference?" Fei Chunxue put on a posture of listening intently. Chen Daoxian explained, "Normal body training exercises consume body training resources and improve body training, right?" Fei Chunxue nodded. "But the Dutian demon god real body that I practiced is different. Take the real body of Zhu Rong that I practiced as an example. It requires practitioners to ignite a group of demon fire that is paid by blood essence. The biggest benefit of this group of demon gods' fire is that it can quickly refine various body refining resources to quickly improve body refining cultivation." As he said that, under the control of Chen Daoxuan's mind, a dark gray flame floated out from his Tanzhong acupoint. If you look closely, you will find that the center of this dark gray flame has a little pure black color. It's just that this pure black flame is very small, and if you don't look carefully, you can't see it at all. But at the same time, this group of devil fire is also the culprit that devoured the body refining resources. Speaking of this, Chen Daoxian had a painful expression on his face. Over the past few days, Chen Daoxian has been training his body every day. With the support of the new body training method and sufficient body training resources, Chen Daoxuan's body training has improved by leaps and bounds. In less than 10 days, he has reached the peak of the blood-dripping realm. Only one step away, you can reach the state of initial integration into the real meaning of immortality. At this level, Chen Daoxuan's body refining cultivation level completely surpassed his qi refining cultivation level in the Jindan stage. At that time, his biggest shortcoming is not the lack of physical cultivation, but the low cultivation of qi. In the face of such a situation, Chen Daoxian should have been happy. But what makes him helpless is that the real body of Zhu Rong consumes too much resources for body refining. No, to be precise, it is the fire of the devil that consumes too much resources. Chen Daoxian never thought that the biggest consumption of cultivating Zhu Rong's real body is not the improvement of physical strength, but the improvement of the fire of the devil. The fire of the devil ignited by this group of hardships has actually become the biggest resource consumption item of Chen Daoxuan's cultivation so far. Just 10 days. All the blood marrow that Chen Daoxian brought back from the true immortal origin realm was swallowed up by it. Because the speed at which the fire of the devil devoured the blood marrow was too fast, Chen Daoxian had not even counted how many thousands of blood marrow it had swallowed, just blindly filling. But this group of devil fire seemed to open its gluttonous mouth and devoured all the blood and marrow. Although the essence that was fed back during the period made his body refinement reach the peak of the blood-dripping realm. But if other body training methods, so much blood marrow, let alone one person's body training level, can be raised to the peak of the blood-dripping realm, it is enough to raise 100 people. However, Chen Daoxian, who cultivated Zhu Rong's real body, could only improve his physical cultivation to the peak of the blood-dripping realm. This resource utilization rate is simply appallingly low. No matter how wealthy Chen Daoxian was, he still didn't want to do it. Of course, the only good thing about this body training method is that the body training speed is very fast. Compared with the previous dragon python swallowing heaven art, the training speed is hundreds of times faster. Seeing Chen Daoxuan's expression a little helpless, concubine Chunxue on the side comforted her. "Chen Lang, please don't underestimate this practice. Perhaps your demon fire has power that you can't imagine." "Shui Er, did you see something?" Chen Daoxian asked quickly. Well, look at this black flame. Fei Chenxue pointed at the pure black flame at the very center of the dark gray flame. If I guess correctly, if you continue refining and devouring the blood marrow, this dark gray flame will completely transform into a black flame. But what's the use of this? Chen Daoxian was very puzzled. Although the power of this demonic fire is great, it can at most threaten Jindan cultivators, and even nascent soul cultivators can ignore it. You can't say that. Concubine Chenxue shook her head. Chen Lang, think about it. You have only practiced such a technique for a few days, and you can obtain a flame that can threaten Jindan cultivator. If the resources are sufficient, wouldn't it be possible to threaten the nascent soul cultivator in a few days? What if you practice for several years or decades? Hearing this, Chen Daoxian was shocked, but his expression loosened again. But how much resources will it take to consume? Fei Chenxue gently held Chen Daoxian's hand and said warmly, Chen Lang, didn't you say the resources of the real demon world are endless, and you will definitely be able to elevate your demon fire to an unprecedented level? Hearing this comfort, Chen Daoxian's irritable mood seemed to be eased by a pair of small hands. He held the opponent's small hand gently and said nothing. 7017K. Chapter 417. Wanyao City, the capital of the Qingqiu Demon Kingdom. As the capital of the Qingqiu Demon Nation, the city of 10,000 demons is just like its name, where 10,000 demons are entrenched. Although the Qingqiu Demon Country is a demon country dominated by the Qingqiu Demon Fox, it does not mean that the entire Qingqiu Demon Country has only one kind of world demon, the demon fox. In the Qingqiu Demon Nation, there are many other types of demons, especially 10,000 Demon City, which can be called a dance of demons. Get out of the way. You're looking for death on the road. On a street in Wanyao City, a burly and demon-headed demon fox in the Zifu passed through the street, shouting loudly. Behind him is a team that can't see the end. It is worth mentioning that the escorts in this team are all ordinary humans wearing handcuffs and shackles. Most of these human races are women, and if you look closely, these women are not very old, very young. But the expressions on their faces were all the same, extremely numb. The world monsters on both sides of the street heard the shouts of the leader of the Zifu Fox monster, and hurriedly moved out of the way, daring not to offend at all. A Zifu Fox demon in the capital of the Qingqiu Demon Country. Although it is not an absolute powerhouse, but its identity is different, it is the Qingqiu Demon Fox clan. In the Qingqiu Demon Nation, world demons of other races would not dare to offend the Qingqiu Demon Fox clan. These are the newly raised blood food in 10,000 Demon City, right? Among the demon group, a bloated world demon with a toad head and a bloated body looked at the long team of human race women. His eyes were shining, and his saliva was drooling. Right beside him, a snake clan demon nodded. Its vertical pupils were full of coldness. These good blood food must be used by Qingqiu to entertain the envoys of the demon court. You mean? The rumors are true. The Qingqiu Demon Nation wants to take refuge in the demon court. The Snake World Demon said coldly. Although it is not the royal family of the Dayuan Demon Nation, but it is also a Snake Clan demon, its favorable impression of the Dayuan Demon Nation is definitely higher than that of the Qingqiu Demon Nation. The recent turmoil in the demon court is so huge. As a member of the real demon world, it is impossible for the demons at the bottom to not pay attention. Although they, the low-level demons, can't control the situation in the real demon world. But as a Snake Clan demon, it must support the Great Yuan Demon Country, which is also a Snake Clan demon. The Great Yuan Demon Nation is clearly opposed to the demon court. In fact, this behavior of the Great Yuan Demon Nation is also easy to explain, as the most powerful of the four surrounding demon nation. The Dayuan Demon Nation is hundreds of thousands of miles in radius, and it is simply an overlord-level existence. As a hegemon who wants to have multiple fathers on his head, even if this father's strength is many times stronger than that of the Great Yuan Yaogua. As the team progressed, the world monsters on both sides of the street pointed at the team. The Qingqiu Fox demon, who was headed by him, didn't mind either, and let them talk in a low voice. The lord of the Qingqiu Demon Country is about to join the demon court, which is not a secret in the Qingqiu Demon Country. The blood food of these young human women, just as other world demons have discussed, is used by the Qingqiu king to entertain the demon court envoys. As long as it sends these blood food to the palace of the Qingqiu king, and does further processing, it can be presented to the Yaoting envoy. All the way. Soon, the palace of the king of Qingqiu was faintly visible. Although the Qingqiu demon nation was established by the Qingqiu demon clan, the level of civilization of the realm demons was obviously much lower than that of the human cultivators. This can be seen from the architectural style of their palaces. Although the place where the Qingqiu king lives is called a palace, in fact it is a huge lair. And this lair has no beauty at all, but is extremely and bloody. The only commendable thing is that its area is large enough and sturdy enough. In front of the Qingqiu king's palace, a group of Qingqiu demon foxes wearing armor and holding swords are looking at the team that is slowly approaching them. These Qingqiu demon foxes are the guards of the Qingqiu king's palace. Coincidentally, these guard commanders were none other than Chen Daoxuan's spiritual pet, Qi Tong. Compared with the time when the true immortal origin realm was separated, Qi Tong's aura was even more terrifying, and its cultivation base, as Chen Daoxian had guessed, had been promoted to the realm of the Demon King. Only when he reaches the realm of the Demon King can he serve as the guard commander of the Qingqiu king's palace. Stop! The leader who escorted the blood food turned around and waved, and the team slowly stopped. Upon seeing this, the leader who escorted the blood food trotted forward, bowed his head in front of Qi Tong, and said respectfully, "Leader Qi Tong, the new batch of blood food that the country lord needs has been delivered." Okay. Qi Tong glanced at the crowd with long eyes, and the disgust in his eyes flashed away. As a spiritual pet engraved with a soul imprint by Chen Daoxian, Qi Tong's thoughts will be influenced by the soul imprint and move closer to Chen Daoxian himself. Now that I see a large number of human women being treated as blood food by world demons, how can I not feel disgusted? But no matter how disgusted, Qi Tong can do nothing at this time. Because this batch of blood food was dedicated to the demon court envoy by the Qingqiu king, Qi Tong wanted to save them, unless they exchanged their lives. And in the hinterland of 10,000 Monsters City, even if it trades its life, I am afraid it can only save it for a while. Say it again. The policies implemented by the Qingqiu Demon Nation and the Daiyuan Demon Nation are completely different. The Daiyuan Demon Nation adopted a policy of stocking the blood and food of the human race. That is, allowing ordinary humans to build cities and courts. Let the ordinary human race manage themselves, and even the Daiyuan Yaogua also took the initiative to provide the human race with the method of body refining, and then the Daiyuan Yaogua regularly harvested the strong body refiners born in these human race cities, and euphemistically called it slaying monsters. General Assembly. The Qingqiu Demon Nation is different. They treat human blood and food more simply and rudely, that is, pure breeding. Just like this batch of human women who just arrived, they were raised by the Qingqiu Demon Nation since childhood. Even if Qi Tong can save the group in front of him, there are still more human blood food in 10,000 Monster City and even the entire Qingqiu Monster Nation. How much can it save? From the outside, although these human race women can walk, they have lost the ability to speak. In other words, they can't even speak, and they are completely reduced to two-legged sheep for the world monsters to eat. In the real world of demons, breeding ordinary humans is the most common way for world monsters to obtain blood food. As for the Great Yuan Demon Kingdom, it is very rare to build a country specifically for the human race, and then harvest it regularly. It is worth mentioning that among the 4 nearby demon nations, the Lion and Camel Demon Nation obtains blood food in the same way as the Daiyuan Demon Nation. Only the Qingqiu Demon Nation and the Extreme Night Demon Nation adopted traditional farming methods. In the void, Chen Daoxian and Fei Chunxue, who were hiding their figures, were staring coldly at the scene in front of them. Now, Chen Daoxuan's way of looking at things has changed a lot from before. He turned his head to look at Fei Chunxue and asked, "The way the Daiyuan Demon Nation and the Lion and Camel Demon Nation treat ordinary humans was created by the Qinyuan Sword Sect?" "That's right," Fei Chunxue nodded. "Just this method can only reduce the deaths of ordinary humans, and it cannot change the tragic fate of the human race's body-refining powerhouse becoming a world demon blood-eater." Hearing this, Chen Daoxian sighed and said, "The world is so powerful that you can save most of the ordinary human race. You have done a good job." Chen Daoxian still doesn't understand that the reason why the Daiyuan Demon Kingdom and the Lion Camel Demon Kingdom use the method of regularly harvesting the top human race body refining powerhouses is precisely what Qinyuan Jianzong secretly came up with. At that time, He also felt that the human race living in the Great Yuan Demon Nation was so miserable that it could even be called darkness. But seeing these two-legged sheep in Qingqiu Demon Country, he knew that he could save so many ordinary human races, and Chen Yuan Jianzong did not know how much he paid silently. Thinking of this, Chen Daoxian firmly believed in his heart that the decision of the Chen family to join forces with Chen Yuan Jianzong was not wrong. Look at this cruel scene in front of you. Chen Daoxian no longer concealed himself, but with a flash, he suddenly appeared in front of Qi Tong and the Zifu fox demon who was responsible for escorting the blood of the human race. Lord! Master! Although Chen Daoxian had not been seen for many years, Qi Tong recognized him at a glance with the connection of the soul imprint. This kind of intimacy in the soul cannot be erased. Hearing Qi Tong calling an unfamiliar human race cultivator as the master, the fox demon guard next to him and the fox demon in the purple house who was in charge of escorting the blood food were all stunned. Commander Qi Tong actually called a human cultivator the master. Their first reaction was that the leader of Qi Tong had betrayed. The Zifu fox demon who was in charge of escorting the blood food reacted the fastest. When he saw Chen Daoxian, he was only a little stunned, and then he wanted to fly towards the palace of the Lord of the Qingqiu Demon Kingdom. From its point of view, it is so close to the country lord entertaining the demon court envoy. As long as it makes a little movement, several demon lord level powerhouses will rush out and take down the strange human race monk in front of him. The real demon realm and the Phoenix Meteor realm have been hostile for so long, and the real demons are no strangers to human monks, especially the Qingqiu demon and the boundary demon, because within the Qingqiu demon kingdom, there is a fairy city built by human monks Weiyang Xiancheng. For hundreds of years, the human monks have dealt with the demons of the Qingqiu demon country countless times. Not to mention, in the recent melee in the real immortal source world, the 4 big demon kingdoms did not know how many Zifu big demons were damaged. And these were all given by the monks of the human race. These thoughts flashed through the mind of the Zifu great demon like lightning. Boom! The next moment, it slammed its head into an invisible wall. The world demon had rough skin and thick flesh. Although it slammed into the space barrier condensed by the space cage, the Zifu demon fox did not suffer any damage, but climbed up in horror. Just when it was still in shock, another woman in a white fairy dress appeared in front of it. Tutu. The purple mansion fox demon wanted to release the projection of the source realm, but found that its source realm was firmly suppressed in the body by a terrifying force and could not be used at all. At this moment, the Zifu fox demon was completely desperate. However, during the whole process, Chen Daoxian didn't even look at each other, just waved his hand lightly, and a dark gray flame passed through the body of each Zifu demon fox. The power of this dark gray flame is terrifying, and every time it passes through a Zifu demon fox, it burns it into nothingness, and not even the scum is left. Aside, Qi Tong stared blankly at the scene in front of him, and found that it had not been seen for more than 10 years, and Chen Daoxian's strength had made it somewhat incomprehensible. If it is said that in the real fairy source world it can roughly figure out Chen Daoxian's strength level, but now Chen Daoxian is a fog in its eyes, and it is not clear at all. Fei Qinxua didn't pay attention to Qi Tong, but looked at Chen Daoxian and exclaimed, "Chen Lang, you devil fire has more power than I imagined. I am afraid that among the cultivators of the Jindan stage, few can resist." Hearing this, Chen Daoxian's previous depression about the fire of the devil was relieved a lot. Spending a lot of body refining resources to get a spirit fire secret technique is not a disadvantage. Moreover, it seems that this spirit fire secret technique can still be continuously improved. The only thing that hurts the most is that upgrading this spirit fire secret technique is too terrifying for the consumption of body refining resources. If there is no real demon world, Chen Daoxian will directly give up practicing this body training method. Because Chen Daoxian is very clear with the resources of Feng Yanji's body training, it is easy to say when his body training is low. By the time he cultivated to the point where he was able to incorporate the indestructible true meaning, and even condense the indestructible true body, the body refining resources of the Phoenix Meteor realm alone would not be enough for him to consume. The body refining resources in the Phoenix Meteor realm are already lacking, and this is no secret at all. Chen Daoxian still remembers that when he auctioned Dragon Python Swallowing Heaven at the Guang'an House auction, no one even competed with him. Because what is lacking in the Fengyun world is not the body refinement exercises, but the body refinement resources. Chen Daoxian was deeply touched by this point in his later body refining practice. When the cultivator's body training is low, most of them use spiritual rice to improve their body training. There are high and low levels of spiritual rice, but the spiritual rice with the highest rank can generally only improve the cultivator's body refinement to the realm derived from flesh and blood. After that, these so-called high-level spiritual meters gradually lost their effectiveness. After arriving at the flesh derivative realm, the most helpful resource for the cultivator's body refinement is the blood crystal. When you use blood crystals to reach the blood-dropping realm, you need to replace another more precious body refining resource, blood marrow. As for the immortal black diamond behind, there is no need to say how precious it is. In the Phoenix meteor realm, whether it is blood crystals, blood marrow, or the true meaning of immortality, there is no such thing. Human monks want to obtain these only to them in the real demon world. Whether it is through the real monster world channel like Wan Xinghai, or directly through the battlefield outside the two worlds, you can obtain these resources that are not precious in the eyes of the world monster. As for the resources that the world monsters robbed, it may not be noticeable in the eyes of the human race cultivators, that is, ordinary mortals. Before the real demon world and the Phoenix meteor world merged, there was no human race in the real demon world. The reason why there are so many human blood food in the real demon world today is that they were all plundered from the Phoenix meteor world and then multiplied. Only hundreds of thousands of years have passed. The monks in the Phoenix meteor realm almost forgot about this history, and they also forgot these ordinary human races that grew up after being robbed by the real demon realm. Even in the eyes of some extreme cultivators, these can't speak like a walking dead world demon blood food, not worthy of being a human race with them. Not happy for long. When Chen Daoxuan's eyes once again touched the group of numb human women in front of him, his brows furrowed deeply. The world demon, all be damned, he said coldly. Fei Chenxue silently held Chen Daoxuan's palm without speaking. Chen Daoxian turned his head and glanced at her, then looked at Qitong and said coldly, Qitong, do you know the guilt? Master, spare your life, Qitong is guilty. Qitong hurriedly knelt down. Get up. Chen Daoxian raised his head. He knew in his heart that with Qitong's strength, he could not save these people at all. Thank you, Master. Akatsuki stood up tremblingly. Tell me about this demon court envoy. Yes. 7017K. Chapter 418. You mean this messenger sent by the demon court? Let the lord of the Qingqiu demon kingdom take a grand look? Chen Daoxian frowned after hearing Qitong's story. Master, that's exactly what it is. Qitong respectfully. Qinlang, what's the matter? On the side, concubine Chenxue, who did not know why, looked at Chen Daoxian suspiciously. Chen Daoxian knew very well that although Fei Chenxue was the suzerain of Qinyuan sword sect, she had never met the world demon of Qingqiu demon country, let alone dealt with the emperor of Qingqiu demon country. But Chen Daoxian had a relationship with the lord of the Qingqiu demon kingdom. Back then, Qin Zhan brought their cultivators from the Purple Mansion and Foundation stage to participate in the competition for the Dao Law of the True Immortal Origin Realm. Chen Daoxian had witnessed Qin Zhan briefly confronting the lord of the Qingqiu demon kingdom. At that time, Chen Daoxuan's strength was still shallow, and he didn't know the power of this Qingqiu demon king. But now that I think about it, with Qin Zhan's strength close to the real monarch of the world at that time, the lord of the Qingqiu demon kingdom can compete with him, and he must also be a powerhouse at the top real monarch level. This kind of powerhouse actually treats this demon court messenger grandly, proving that the strength of this demon court messenger is definitely not under the lord of the Qingqiu demon country. Even the other party is very likely to be a world demon at the level of a real king in the world. The cultivation path of the world monster is different from that of the human monks, but as long as the world monster understands the three Dao laws and can integrate them, they can enter the level equivalent to the real monarch of the world of human monks. In this regard, the world demon is almost exactly the same as the human monk. Moreover, since the origin of the world monster is the inner world, the power of the world monster is even stronger than that of the human race monks at the same level. Of course, human cultivators possess magical tools and various secret techniques, which is incomparable to world monsters. This, in general, after the world demon and the human cultivator reached the nascent soul stage, the difference in basic strength was very small. Facing Fei Chengshi's doubts, Chen Daoxian briefly explained to her. So, this demon court envoy is very likely to be a world realm demon master. Well, you thought about it with me. Chen Daoxian nodded. The two of them did not expect that they had planned to secretly recover the small Qingqiu demon kingdom, but they encountered a powerhouse of the same level. I just don't know what layer of the world is this envoy of the demon court, Chen Daoxian thought for a while. No matter how many layers it is in the world, it's not the third layer in the world, right? Impossible. Fei Chunxue shook her head. On the third floor of the world, it is necessary for the monks to recreate the earth's feng shui and fire to recreate the vitality of the world. Let's not talk about the sun in the Xianhuang world. With your current cultivation level, you can't solve it at all. This is the same for demon lord level world demons. Concubine Chengshi's meaning is very straightforward. The three layers of the world are all the realms of the Tao that can only be touched by the Yuanshan Daojun. From ancient times to the present, I have never heard of any nascent soul cultivator who can reach the third level of the world realm. Actually, there are only a handful of nascent soul cultivators who can reach the second floor of the world realm. The reason is very simple. Generally, after reaching the first level of the world realm, Yuaning cultivators are qualified to break through the Yuanshan stage. At this time, the Yuaning cultivator will definitely choose to break through the Yuanshan stage with all his strength, instead of suppressing his cultivation, to promote the Tao realm to the second layer of the world realm. Because compared to breaking through to the second floor of the world, breaking through to the primordial spirit stage first, both in strength and life essence, will be greatly improved. Moreover, once the cultivator becomes the Yuanshan Daojun, he will soon be able to raise the Tao realm to the second layer of the world realm or even the third layer of the world realm. So this is not at all difficult to decide. For almost all nascent soul cultivators, if they have the opportunity to break through their cultivation, they will definitely choose to give priority to breaking through their cultivation, rather than suppressing their cultivation and breaking through the realm of the Great Tao. Like Chen Daoxian and Fei Chunxue, the cultivation base is only in the nascent soul stage or even the golden core stage, but the Tao realm has reached the second level of the world realm, which is very rare. In addition to his amazing talent, Jiang Qingye can do this, and there is another important reason. He is a member of the Jiang family of the ancient immortal clan. If it weren't for this, Jiang Qingye's talent alone would not be comparable to Qin Zhan and Fei Chunxue, let alone Chen Daoxian. After listening to Fei Chengshu's words, Chen Daoxian's heart relaxed slightly. As long as it's not a demon master on the second floor of the world, it's fine. Although Chen Daoxian and Fei Chunxue joined forces, they would not be afraid of the demon master on the second floor of the world, but it was almost impossible to capture it. Capturing a strong man of the same level alive is much more difficult than beheading the opponent. The purpose of Chen Daoxian and Fei Chunxue was to secretly control the four major demon kingdoms, not to let the demon court find out that there were cultivators in the real demon world. If the demon court envoy is released, Chen Daoxian's next plans will be in vain. Chen Daoxian had to guard against this. Too late will cause chaos. Let's do it together. It is good. Fei Chunxue nodded. She knows that now is not the time to hesitate, so she will take down the demon court messenger first. In the hideous and terrifying world demon lair, a terrifying existence, one by one, is sitting in the spacious hall, eating and drinking. It's just that the food they eat and drink is simply appalling in the eyes of the human race monks. Below, the demons of the Qingqiu demon fox clan put each young woman into a stone bowl, with a diameter of about 10 feet. In front of this stone bowl sits a monster with wings on its back and a pointed mouth with golden eyes. This is a Jinping world monster. Jinping world demon watched the stone bowl gradually fill with food, and his face gradually showed impatience. It raised its head, looked at the king of Qingqiu who was sitting in its starting position, and snorted coldly, "The king of Qingqiu, have you considered it?" The envoy ceases his anger. The lord of the Qingqiu demon kingdom kept his attitude low. "I'm blunt. Although the demon court is powerful now, it is not a simple matter to unify the real demon world, and there must be countless demon nations opposed to this matter. Nonsense if there is no objection from the demon kingdom. Do you think this seat still needs to come to you as a lobbyist in person?" Having said that, the Jinpeng world demon saw that the stone bowl in front of him was filled with blood, and immediately stretched out his golden claws, grabbed the corner of the stone bowl, and lifted the entire stone bowl. In the stone bowl, at least hundreds of young women were swallowed by it. These hundreds of human race women, The closer they got to the corner of its mouth, as if they had been subjected to a reduction technique, they became the size of sugar pills and were swallowed by the Jinpeng monster. After eating hundreds of human women in one bite, the Jinpeng world demon slapped his mouth in satisfaction, and his expression finally relaxed a bit. See, the king of Qingqiu looked happy, and immediately scolded a demon king who was serving by the side. Is the blood food you prepared for the ambassador ready? This. The demon king was stunned when asked. Qitong commander is in charge of this matter, and his subordinates will rush it. Having said that, he hurried to the outside of the hall. Before he could step out of the hall, a dark gray flame passed through its chest. Immediately afterwards its fleshy body, which was comparable to the blood-dripping realm, melted little by little. Yu, the demon king looked at the two human monks in front of him in horror, and wanted to open his mouth to say something, but found that he couldn't even say a complete sentence. God is dead. Who? In the main hall, the Qingqiu king suddenly stood up. But when it saw Chen Daoxian and concubine Chenxue, the expression on its face changed suddenly. World realm real monarch. The Qingqiu demon nation is a long way from Liangjiyuan, and it is extremely difficult and dangerous for human cultivators to fly all the way from the battlefield outside Liangjiyuan. The only possibility is that these two came through the Wuxia passage. The demon lord Qingqiu carefully looked at Chen Daoxian and Fei Chenxue, and desperately searched for a strong man in the sea of stars who could match these two. A long time, King Qingqiu stretched out a finger, pointed at concubine Chenxue, and said tremblingly, You are the sect master of Qinyuan sword sect? You. Concubine Chenxue was not surprised when she saw that the other party recognized her. There are only a few of Wan Xinghai's top true monarch-level powerhouses. Since Qinyuan Jianzong can penetrate the four major demon kingdoms, the demon masters and kings of the four major demon kingdoms can naturally collect information on the powerhouses of Wang Xinghai. It's just that compared to the intelligence work of the Qinyuan sword sect Shadow Hall, the intelligence of the four demon nations is far behind. So much so that the king of Qingqiu only recognized Fei Chenxue, but knew nothing about the young cultivator beside her. The only thing it is certain is that this young monk is not Qin Zhan, because it knew Qin Zhan and had played against each other. The young male cultivator in front of him was obviously not Qin Zhan. Who is he holding? Just when the king of Qingqiu was in shock, another demon king in the hall had a turbulent wave in his heart at this moment. Qilin, what's wrong with you? A beautiful woman turned her head and asked. This glamorous woman is also sitting on a huge stone bench. Obviously, this is also a demon master level powerhouse from the Qingqiu demon nation. At this time Fei Chenxue came in person. Although Qilin felt nervous, she was not too frightened, because she knows that the Jinpeng demon lord in the hall is also a world realm demon lord, and in terms of strength it is not inferior to the world realm true monarch. Speaking of which, their Qingqiu demon nation has a really good luck. If there is no demon court messenger here today, just relying on their few demon masters, if they want to survive under the hands of the Qinyuan sword sect master, I am afraid they will not be able to do it. No, nothing. Qilin hurriedly lowered her head, her heart beating violently. She originally thought that what happened in the true immortal origin realm was just a nightmare for her. But she did not expect that the nightmare is now chasing after her. Moreover, the strength of her master has improved too fast. You must know that due to her and Qitong's great deeds, she was rewarded with a lot of treasures by the Qingqiu king, which raised her strength to the realm of a demon king. But it's only been so many years, and the change in the master's strength is many times better than her and Qitong. Thinking of this, Qilin couldn't help trembling. But under the influence of the soul imprint, Qilin became calm again, and felt that Chen Daoxian was extremely kind. Compared to Chen Daoxian, the ancestor Jilin in front of her was her enemy. The Scarlet Scale Demon King couldn't care about Qilin. After she asked Qilin casually, she focused all her thoughts on the field. On the field, Demon Lord Jinpeng stood up abruptly. His gloomy eyes first glanced at Chen Daoxian and Fei Chenxue. Then, without saying a word, he turned around and ran away. Want to run? Chen Daoxian sneered. The next moment, I saw a spherical array of light curtains, covering the entire radius of 100 miles. 7th order mid-grade formation method. 19 palaces must be formed for a moment. As soon as he made his move, Chen Daoxian took out the magic weapon that he pressed at the bottom of the box. Aside, Fei Chengshi's movements were not slow at all, and she directly took out a golden bronze bell. It is the treasure of Qinyuan Jianzong's Zhenzong, the Emperor Yu Bell, a 7th-order mid-grade magic weapon, and a pure Yang fairy weapon. This demon master, who was only at the first level of the world, suddenly showed despair in his eyes. Less than half a cup of tea. The Jinping Demon Lord was trapped in a space cage by Chen Daoxian. On the periphery of this space cage is a miniature star kendo map, and around the star kendo map, there is also a fan prize formation flag, which is the array flag of the Jiugong Shui formation. The triple suppression, the Jinping Demon Lord, was stubbornly suppressed in the space cage. Fei Chenxue looked at the space cage with Chen Daoxian's palm like a glass ball, and the doll-like figure of the Jinping Demon Master in the space cage, and asked, "What are you going to do with it?" Chen Daoxian thought for a while. "First lock it in the Xianhuang realm." "Fine." Fei Chenxue also knew that now is not the time to kill this demon court messenger, at least not now. As a result, the Jinping Demon Master must know a lot of information about the demon court. Second, Chen Daoxian was worried about killing the other party. Although the world demon is not good at refining magic tools, it is not difficult to make magic tools such as soul cards. Chen Daoxian didn't believe that Yaoting was so powerful that he didn't even have the soul card of the messenger sent out. Suppressing the only world realm demon lord on the field, the remaining 4 demon lords, only Qingqiu Country Lord is the top true monarch level, and the other demon lords only have the strength of the late nascent soul. With this power in front of Chen Daoxian and Fei Chenxue, there was not even a little room for resistance, and he was directly captured by the 2 of them. In the territory of the Qingqiu Demon Kingdom, plus the Qingqiu Kingdom Lord, there are a total of 4 demon lords, all of which are being swept away by Chen Daoxian and Fei Chenxue. Deprived of the 5 senses, seeing Chen Daoxian trapping the 4 demon masters with space cages, Fei Chenxue simply performed a secret technique called deprivation of the 5 senses. First suppressed by the space cage, and then deprived of the 5 senses, the 4 demon masters of the Qingqiu Demon Nation were instantly cut off from all connections with the outside world. As long as Chen Daoxian and Fei Chenxue do not let go of the restrictions, these 4 can only sink forever in the dark. After suppressing a world realm demon master, a top demon master and 3 ordinary demon masters, Chen Daoxian did not intend to let other realm monsters in the hall go. The dark gray flame is like an elf, jumping continuously on the monsters. Every time it jumps, a flame is ignited out of thin air. What? Don't want. For a while, screams continued in the hall. One after another flames burned out of thin air. And then the dark gray flames burned all the demons into nothingness. Finally, this dark gray flame hovered in front of a demon fox with 3 tails, and a face very similar to a human woman. This demon fox woman is Qi Ling owner. Qi Ling knelt down trembling. The fear in her heart was 3 points better than Qi Tong. 7017K. Chapter 419. Xianhuang World. 2 white figures suddenly appeared. Fei Chenxue raised her head, looked at this barren world and said, "This is the world you created?" "Okay," Chen Daoxian nodded. "I didn't have enough spiritual knowledge in Dao domain back then, and the world I created was inherently a little narrow, but it made you laugh at Xue Air?" Fei Chenxue shook her head. "The inadequacy of the world can be supplemented by the power of good fortune. This is nothing but it." Fei Chenxue stretched out a finger and pointed to several laws in the high sky entangled with each other. The formation of the illusory sun. The sun star is the core of a world. If you want to repeat the feng shui fire and recreate the vitality of the world, it is necessary to turn it from virtual to real. Speaking of this, Fei Chenxue smiled. "Of course, these will have to be considered after your cultivation has reached the primordial spirit stage." Chen Daoxian smiled casually. "Let's go and see our guests." It is good. The most central position of the Xianhuang realm, a Jinping world demon with a wingspan of dozens of feet, was stubbornly suppressed. Around Jinping a star map kept spinning, and around the star map, there were several array flags. At this moment, the Jinping world demon has recovered its true body. Seeing the arrival of Chen Daoxian and the 2 Jinping world demons' golden pupils showed a brutal and bloodthirsty look. Human monks, you are all dead. The Jinping world demon confronted Chen Daoxian through space barriers and layers of suppression. If we die, fellow Taoists don't have to worry about it. Chen Daoxian looked at it indifferently. It's you, fellow Taoist, do you want to take a walk on the Demon Slayer platform? Hearing the words Monster Slayer Terrace, Jinping world demon suddenly changed color. The Demon Slayer Terrace is Xingtai in Tianzuan City, a place with a dignified reputation for slaughtering world demons. For countless years in the extraterritorial battlefield of Liangjiyuan, I don't know how many world demons have been captured and killed on the demon-slaying platform. Human cultivator, even if I die, Yaoting will not let you go. The demon court? Chen Daoxian sneered. Yaoting, a little Jindan cultivator, really can't afford to provoke me. But you, a world realm demon lord, can represent Yaoting? Hearing this, the Jinping world demon suddenly changed color. Indeed, in front of the lord of the Qingqiu demon kingdom, it is indeed the envoy of the demon court, but in fact, the Jinping world demon knows his own affairs. Where is it, the special envoy of Yaoting? It is just an insignificant demon lord level world demon under Yaoting. With its strength, it doesn't even have the right to speak in the demon court. This time it ran all the way, privately recruiting major demon countries, and just wanted to make merits in exchange for resources to advance to the cultivation base. Seeing that his mind was seen through by Chen Daoxian, the Jinping world demon admitted and said, "Human monk, what do you want to catch me but not kill? Tell me about the demon court. Don't think about it." The Jinping world demon said bitterly, "Even if I die, I will never betray the demon court." Hearing this, Chen Daoxian and concubine Chenxua looked at each other. The next moment, countless space-sharp blades slashed towards the wings of the Jinping world demon. Ding ding ding. Accompanied by a crisp sound, the Jinping world monster giggled strangely. "Human monk, are you tickling this seat?" Seeing this, Chen Daoxian couldn't help frowning. The fleshly body is too strong, and he has no good means of criminal law for a while. If you attack with all your strength, you can injure or even kill it, but this process is too fast and will not cause much pain to it, so it will not achieve the purpose of torture. Seeing that Chen Dao's profound skills were poor, concubine Chenxua on the side stepped forward and said, "Let me try it, it is good." Chen Daoxian stepped aside and signaled the opponent to do something. Concubine Chenxua kept pinching the spirit art with her hands, and after a full incense stick, she softly said, "5 thunders devouring the heart curse." I saw a flash of thunder light flashing from her hand, and then the thunder light jumped onto the Jinping world demon and disappeared. Just when Chen Daoxian thought that this method was ineffective against the Jinping realm demon, the other party broke out with a heart-piercing scream. "This?" Chen Daoxian stared blankly at concubine Chenxua. Fei Chenxua explained with a smile, "This is the 5 thunders heart-devouring mantra of the Shadow Palace, which is a kind of secret technique of attacking the soul. The most amazing thing about this technique is that it does not confront the enemy's consciousness head-on, but uses the lightning secret technique. Attack the enemy spirit. Of course, the biggest disadvantage of this method is that the preparation time is too long, so it cannot be used in the fighting method, and can only be used to extract confessions by torture." Chen Daoxian nodded. "It will take a stick of incense to cast the 5 thunders of the heart-devouring mantra. Which of the cultivators is not between lightning and flint, who can stand there still and let you do it?" While the two of them were talking, Jinping world demon couldn't hold it anymore. The golden pupils began to dilute gradually, which was a sign of the collapse of the soul. "Not good. Hurry up," Chen Daoxian hurriedly said. Fei Chenxua hurriedly pinched the magic art, and put away the secret art. About half a cup of tea, the Jinping world demon regained consciousness. It's just that compared to the arrogance just now, the breath of the Jinping world demon has declined many times at this moment, and it looks like it's dying. Hey, little human doll, there is a kind of, you kill me." Seeing the other party so arrogant, Chen Daoxian's brows and hearts beat wildly. Concubine Chenxua also frowned, and I have to say that this beast is not only cruel, but also has a very hard mouth. Neither Fei Chenxua nor Chen Daoxian had ever specifically practiced the secret technique of extorting confessions by torture. The 5 thunders heart-devouring mantra of Fei Chenxua Hui was learned inadvertently in the early years. As for Chen Daoxian, he doesn't even know a secret method to torture people, because in Chen Daoxian's view, killing people is no more than a nod to the ground. In the face of the enemy, he has always killed the account, and never thought about how to torture the opponent. This time he finally realized another deficiency in himself. Fortunately, learning new techniques may be quite exhausting for other monks, but for Chen Daoxian, it is just something that can be done with a little bit of savvy stardust. Not to mention that he and Qianyuan Jianzong are joining forces to attack the real demon world. Even if there is no such thing, just relying on the Jiuanzu and Qianyuan Jianzong's inventory, he is not worried about the understanding of Xingqian. You must know that there are tens of millions of Jiuan beads in his storage ring that have not been used up. Seeing that the other party was stubborn, Chen Daoxian waved his hand, and the space cage that suppressed the Jinping World Demon shrank for a while, and the Jinping World Demon kept shrinking in size. In the end, the space cage became the size of a glass bead, and the Jinping World Demon sealed it like an amber. Call. Chen Daoxian breathed a sigh of relief. Chen Lang doesn't have to mind. With this stubborn cultivation base, even if he is willing to reveal the information of the demon court, it must be very limited. Since it is stubborn and ineffective, it is better to send it directly to the demon-slaying platform and kill it. The demon-slaying platform is the altar specially set up by the heavenly venerates of the Phoenix Meteor Realm to kill the demons of the world. On the one hand, it is to deter the demons on the battlefield outside the two realms. On the other hand, it is also because of killing some sensitive world monsters such as the current Demon Court Messenger. As the demon of the Demon Court, if an ordinary cultivator kills it, it will inevitably be revenged by the Demon Court. The status of Jinping World Demon is not considered noble, and even if Chen Daoxian kills the opponent, the probability of causing trouble is very low. But if he is caught by Chen Daoxian, what if he is a direct descendant of the Lord of the Demon Court? Did he kill or not kill? At this time, the Monster Slayer platform can play a role, because the biggest use of the Monster Slayer platform is to not account for cause and effect. Alright, Chen Daoxian nodded slowly, let's go see those guys. After all, the barren land under their feet changed for a while, and Chen Daoxian and the two came to a hill where the king of Qingqiu and other world monsters were imprisoned. Looking at the 4 demon master-level demons buried deep in the hills, Chen Daoxian waved his hand. Next moment, the hills burst and 4 glass bead-like space cages flew out. The space cage the size of a glass bead swelled in the wind, and in a blink of an eye, it returned to its normal size. Looking at the 4 demon masters of the Qingqiu Demon Kingdom in front of him, Chen Daoxian turned his head and said, "Trouble you?" Concubine Chenxue smiled slightly, and immediately held the spirit art and put away the technique of deprivation of the 5 senses. As the 5 senses recovered, the 4 demon lords, including the lord of the Qingqiu Demon Kingdom, immediately regained consciousness. All the demon masters raised their heads one after another, glanced at the gray and barren world, and immediately realized where they were. World Realm Cultivator. The king of Qingqiu Demon Kingdom looked at Chen Daoxian with complicated eyes. He knew that the world they were in was created by the young monk in front of him. I didn't expect that in addition to the suzerain, Qianyuan Jianzong actually hides a world powerhouse like you. Seeing that the other party did not recognize him, Chen Daoxian did not explain. After all, the last time the two met, he was still a nobody, hiding among thousands of Wan Xinghai cultivators, and it was normal for the other party not to recognize him. Stop talking nonsense, King Qingqiu, let me ask you, would you like to cooperate with me? The king of Qingqiu sneered. Cooperation? I don't know how you want to cooperate. Give up the resistance of divine sense and let me plant a soul imprint. Heard. King Qingqiu's face suddenly changed. He glared angrily and shouted, "You want me to be your slave? Never mind." Chen Daoxian nodded and said indifferently, "If you don't want to, then die." After all, in front of the Qingqiu king, a small golden sword appeared out of thin air. Fei Chengshi's eyes were so vicious, she recognized at a glance that each of these 9 golden swords was formed by the fusion of at least 3 laws, and the degree of fusion of the laws was extremely high, at least 70%. Even she felt a fatal threat from these golden swords. And this is the change in attacking moves after Chen Daoxian broke through to the 2nd floor of the world realm, or in other words, before he broke through the world realm. Chen Daoxian can at most combine the 3 laws of air, water and fire, and the degree of fusion of the laws is only about 70%. The concrete manifestation is that the 3 laws of emptiness, water and fire merge into a golden giant sword. After reaching the second level of the world realm, Chen Daoxuan's mastery of the types and degrees of laws has not only improved, but most importantly, his mastery of the fusion of laws has become increasingly proficient. Compared with before breaking through to the world, the two are completely different. For example, the 9 golden swords he is currently displaying, each of which is formed by the fusion of 3 different laws, and the degree of fusion exceeds 90%. This level of attack is already comparable to that of an ordinary second-level real monarch of the world. During the battle with Jiang Chengye, the opponent commented that Chen Daoxian had more than enough defense and insufficient attack. After such a long time, although Chen Daoxian has been focusing on the cultivation body, his exploration of the realm of the Tao, especially the fusion of laws, has not stopped. In particular, Chen Daoxian has the Comprehension star dust as the backing, and comprehends the mystery of the fusion of laws, which is far from what other world real monarchs can match. This was also the reason why Fei Chunxue was shocked. If it was said that when she was fighting with Jiang Chengye, she still had confidence in Chen Daoxian, but now she feels that she has no confidence in Chen Daoxian at all. The speed of Chen Daoxuan's strength improvement is too fast. After all the calculations, it is only more than a year away from gambling with Jiang Chengye. At this time, for other nascent soul monks, even a single retreat is not enough, but Chen Daoxuan's progress has been so great. Say it, no one will believe it. Looking at the husband-in-law she personally chose beside her, Fei Chengshi's beautiful eyes could not help flashing a hint of admiration. Mu Chong is human nature, especially women. The golden sword flashed like golden lightning. In an instant, King Qingqiu was cut into nothingness by 9 golden swords. Aside, the other 3 demon masters were so frightened that they did not dare to breathe when they saw that the most powerful King Qingqiu was killed. Chen Daoxian walked to the second demon master. The demon master looked at Chen Daoxian, raised his head, and just wanted to speak. I think. The sword light flashed, and the second demon master died. Chen Daoxian did the same and walked to the third demon master. The third demon master's mentality completely collapsed, and he shouted, "Surrender, I surrender. Don't kill me. I am willing to plant a soul mark." "Knight," Chen Daoxian said coldly. Next moment, facing the desperate gaze of the demon master, the 9 golden swords cut it into nothingness again, until Chen Daoxian walked to the 4th demon master. Before he could do anything, a transparent demon fox spirit stood on top of Jilin's head. As for herself, she knelt down on the ground and didn't even dare to lift her head. She just begged for mercy tremblingly. "I beg Shangxian to spare her life." "You are wise." Chen Daoxian snorted coldly. Looking at the transparent demon fox spirit in front of him, he immediately used the soul seal secret technique to plant a soul seal on its spirit. After a stick of incense, the red-scaled demon fox completely turned into a human woman, standing in front of Chen Daoxian and Fei Chunxue, and said on her knees, "Little demon Qiscale has seen the master and mistress." Hearing the name Jilin, Chen Daoxian was slightly startled. Because of this name, it sounds exactly like Qiling, another of his spiritual pets. Hearing Chen Daoxuan's doubts, Qilin hurriedly explained, "Master Qi, Qiling is a descendant of my bloodline. In the Qingqiu Demon Kingdom, in addition to the Qingqiu Kingdom Lord, there are 3 major bloodlines, and I am the ancestor of one of the bloodlines." Hearing this explanation, Chen Daoxian nodded, feeling that he has just destroyed the lord of the Qingqiu Demon Kingdom and the ancestor of the 3 major bloodlines, and there is only one left. If Chen Daoxian no longer intervenes, it is foreseeable that the demise of the Qingqiu demon nation is only a matter of time. However, he did so much effort not to destroy the Qingqiu demon nation. Although the current Qingqiu demon nation is broken and its strength is greatly reduced, its status as a demon force still makes Chen Daoxian very moved. He turned his head to look at Fei Chunxue, and said, "One of the 4 big demon kingdoms has been won, and there are still Dayuan, Lion Camel and Jia Demon Kingdom. Dayuan and Lion Camel Demon Kingdom, the Shadow Palace has a lot of deep arrangement. I can leave this matter to Qin Zhan to handle. As for the extremely Night Demon Country concubine," Chunxue thought for a while, "let Qin Zhan do it together." "All right." Chen Daoxian nodded. Without the threat of the Xianqing Dao League, the 4 major demon kingdoms would not be able to turn any waves in front of Qinyuan Jianzong. Not to mention Qinyuan Jianzong. Even Chen Daoxian was alone, and he was confident enough to attack the 4 demon kingdoms one by one. After discussing the matter of the 4 demon kingdoms, Chen Daoxian looked at Qi Lin again and asked, "Let me ask you, how many resources are there in the Qingqiu demon kingdom?" "Refining resources?" Qi Lin was stunned for a moment, but quickly reacted, "Master, in the Qingqiu demon nation, there are 6 large blood crystal mines, 1 medium-sized blood marrow mine, and 1 miniature black crystal mine." "So might," Chen Daoxian said in surprise. Of course, he knew that the black crystal or in Jilin's mouth was an agglomeration of indestructible true meaning. This is a whole black crystal mine, far from the 17 boxes of black crystals that Chen Daoxian seized from Jinyuan Jinjuan. "Do you know the specific reserves of these deposits?" This Qi Lin was a little dumbfounded. She really didn't know that. Refinement resources are extremely precious to human monks, but to the demons that's the same. The path taken by the world monsters is completely different from that of the human race monks. What they major in is only the source world within the body. In addition, their demon bodies will continue to grow stronger as the source world increases. And they don't need any body refining resources at all. Unless some world monsters have practiced special exercises. Ordinary world monsters don't need any body refining resources at all. This has resulted in the fact that the body refining resources that are rarely seen in the Phoenix Meteor realm, or have disappeared, are very abundant in the true demon realm, and even a little flooded. If not, it is impossible for a nascent soul cultivator with a near lifespan like Jin Yuanjin to collect a full 17 boxes of black crystals. Although Jilin doesn't know the specific reserves of each mineral deposit, since it can be called a large mineral deposit by Jia Yao, its reserves must be very amazing. No wonder the Jiang family can sell blood crystals in Taizhou. It turns out that there are 6 large blood crystal mines in the Qingqiu demon country, opposite the Taizhou passage. With such a blood crystal, or even if the Qingqiu demon kingdom leaked a little from the nails, it would be enough to feed the Jiang family. Sure enough, war plunder is the fastest way to get rich. Moreover, war looting is faster than any looting method. The only downside is that it's not sustainable. Knowing that there are so many body refining resources, Chen Daoxian was very excited, and he hit the railway while it was hot. "Then do you have this kind of spiritual mine in Qingqiu demon state?" Talking, Chen Daoxian took out a jade slip from the storage ring and handed it to Qi Lin. Qi Lin respectfully took the jade slip and looked at it intently. "Half an hour." Qi Lin raised his head and said with a cautious expression, "Master, we do not have this kind of spiritual or called Qingmu steel, but the demon kingdom of extreme night seems to have a mineral deposit that is very similar to the description of this kind of spiritual ore. It's just that it's not called Aoki steel but Xian Qingshi. Qingmugang is just a name called by the Jiang family. In the real demon world, the name is definitely different. For example, indestructible true meaning, in the real demon world it is called black crystal. This is innocuous. As long as Chen Daoxian knows that there are indeed these resources here, that's enough. 7017K. Chapter 420. The 3 figures are blurred. Appeared again, and has returned to the main hall when he came. Inside the hall, Qi Tong and Qi Ling waited respectfully. The 2 of them were shocked when they saw the scarlet-scaled demon lord, but then lowered their heads and dared not speak more. "See," Chen Daoxian said, "in the future the Qingqiu demon nation will be handed over to the 3 of you, and the first task after you take control of the Qingqiu demon nation is to fully exploit the blood marrow mine, the black crystal mine and the blood crystal mine." Heard. The demons looked at each other, and quickly bowed. "Follow the master's law." "Okay." Chen Daoxian nodded in satisfaction. The mining of blood crystal ore is not in a hurry for the time being, because the effect of blood crystal on Chen Daoxian's cultivation of Zhu Rong's real body has been minimal. Chen Daoxian then cultivated Zhu Rong's real body, and the most consumed resources were blood marrow and black crystal. Therefore, these 2 resources are mined with the highest priority. After listening to Chen Daoxian's orders, Qi Lin's face on the side was a little hesitant, as if there was something unspeakable. Seeing that her demeanor was wrong, Chen Daoxian said calmly, "Qi Lin, do you have any questions?" "Red scales dare not." The scarlet scale demon lord hurriedly lowered his head. "It's just that there is only one demon lord left in my Qingqiu demon nation. I'm afraid what's next." "You don't have to worry about it. I have my own considerations. Yes, master. Hearing Chen Daoxian say this, Qi Lin stopped talking immediately. Finished the affairs of the Qingqiu demon nation. Chen Daoxian and Fei Chanxue took the spirit boat and embarked on the road back to Wangxinghai. On the spirit boat, Chen Daoxian and Fei Chanxue sat opposite each other. I didn't expect that the mighty Qingqiu demon nation was so vulnerable back then. The Qingqiu demon nation, which used to feel extremely powerful, could also be destroyed with a single hand. Hearing Chen Daoxuan's sigh, Fei Chanxue nodded and said, "The stronger the cultivator is, the more different he will see things. You have this feeling because your cultivation time is short." Speaking of this, Fei Chengxi's eyes were bent into crescent shapes, and she said with a smile, "So I have to say my husband-in-law is really amazing." For the first time, Chen Daoxian saw the always serious concubine Chenxue, showing such a little woman's attitude in front of him, and his mouth became dry for a while. He turned his face, coughed lightly, and changed the subject. "By the way, Shuer, what happened when you said that the sun star in the Xianhuang realm changed from fiction to reality?" See Chen Daoxian deliberately changing the topic. Fei Chanxue smiled even happier. She couldn't help but gently moved her fair and soft toes from under the tea table to the crook of Chen Daoxuan's legs, and gently provoked him. At this moment, Chen Daoxuan's face suddenly turned red, and his breathing became a little short. Seeing his appearance, concubine Chenxue pursed her lips and smiled. As if nothing had happened, she retracted her little feet as if nothing had happened and said, "The change of the sun star in the Xianhuang realm from the virtual to the real is the key to breaking through the third layer of the world realm. For the monks on the second floor of the world, it has been possible to separate the yin and yang, so that the turbid air of the created world sinks, the clean air rises, and the world is divided. The key to recreating the vitality of the world is the sun star in the sky." Concubine Chenxue paused. The sun star is the source of all life energy. It illuminates everything in the world and provides all the energy needed for life. Therefore, a virtual sun star naturally cannot recreate the vitality of the world. Only by turning the sun and star from the virtual to the real can the world be reborn. Hearing this, Chen Daoxian couldn't help taking a deep breath. Fei Chanxue said a few words, but Chen Daoxian felt that there was a huge difference between the third layer of the world and the second layer of the world. The first layer of the world and the second layer of the world are only requirements for the understanding of the law. When it comes to the third layer of the world, it is no longer a change in the understanding of the law, but the only sun star in the world from the virtual to the real. What is a sun star? Chen Daoxian, who had studied physics in his previous life, knew that this was a terrifying celestial body that was constantly undergoing nuclear fusion. Although the current size of the Xianhuang realm cannot accommodate the sun of the previous life, it cannot be compared with the sun star of the Phoenix meteor realm. But no matter what, it is not so simple to condense a sun star from the virtual to the real. Fei Chanxue looked at Chen Daoxian, who frowned and comforted. The third floor of the world realm is not so easy to break through. Many Yuanshan Daijins are stuck on the second floor of the world realm and cannot be deposited, let alone our Yuanying Zhen. Speaking of this, concubine Chenxue paused, because she suddenly realized that Chen Daoxian was not Yuanying Zhenjuan, and the other party was actually a late Jindan cultivator. Thinking of this, Fei Chanxue couldn't help but caress her forehead with Bai Nen's little hand. "I wanted to comfort the other party but ended up hurting myself, so I stopped talking." Chen Daoxian didn't notice Fei Chengxi's abnormality, and said to himself, "Is there no shortcut to condensing the sun star? All the way to practice so far, Chen Daoxian took too many shortcuts." One of the biggest shortcuts is that the Hongming Enlightenment Classic, in the Sea of Knowledge, gives him the ability to store understanding. Relying on this ability, Chen Daoxuan's speed of enlightenment is unimaginable for ordinary people. After that, his two qi refining cultivation bases were quickly promoted, and he also relied on the two treasures of vitality essence and Shengyuan fruit, which was regarded as a shortcut. If it weren't for these two treasures, Chen Daoxian might be still in the late stage of foundation building, and he would never have risen to the late stage of Jindan in just a few decades, and he was about to break through to the nascent soul stage. Therefore, Chen Daoxian only asked this question. Originally, he just asked casually, but Fei Chanxue nodded and said, "Of course there is a shortcut." "Okay." Chen Daoxian suddenly came to the spirit. "Qinlang, Have you heard of the Golden Crow fragment? Golden Crow fragment? Chen Daoxian frowned, a little unclear. Fei Chenxue explained, it is rumored that there were 10 sun stars in the fairyland, also known as the 10 Golden Crows. Later, a strong man shot an arrow and blasted 9 of them. These 9 broken Golden Crow fragments were scattered to the endless immortals from then on. The domain has turned into the suns of the main world. You mean? Chen Daoxian pointed to the sun above his head. Is this sun also transformed by the fragments of the Golden Crow? Exactly. Fei Chenxue nodded. Chen Daoxian's heart suddenly stirred up stormy waves. Isn't what concubine Chenxue said about the strong shooting the sun, the story of the descendants shooting the sun in myths and legends? Just when Chen Daoxian was shocked, Fei Chenxue continued. Of course, you don't need to count on the Golden Crow fragments of the True Demon Realm and the Phoenix Meteor Realm, Chen Lang. Even if it is the world opened up by the Mahayana True Immortal, it is impossible to refine the Golden Crow fragments of these 2 main worlds. But in Liangjiuan, there are still many fragments of the Golden Crow left. These Golden Crow fragments are somewhat suitable for Chen Lang's Xianhuang realm refining. Hearing this, Chen Daoxian couldn't react. In the battlefield outside the 2 realms abyss, I don't know how many world realm powerhouses have been killed for hundreds of thousands of years. After these powerhouses who opened up the world die, they will inevitably leave the world they opened up. For countless years, most of these worlds have been desolate, just like the real fairyland that Chen Daoxian once explored. But there are still many world relics. Not only there are a lot of treasures, but also fragments of the Golden Crow left in them. After the Golden Crow fragments were scattered to the endless immortal domain, some Golden Crow fragments formed a master world, and some smaller Golden Crow fragments were scattered in the endless void all the year round. In the ancient years, the true immortals of the True Demon Realm and the Phoenix Meteor Realm searched for these scattered Golden Crow fragments in the endless void in order to strengthen the Sun Star in their own world. This is the origin of the large number of Golden Crow fragments in the battlefield outside the 2 realms abyss. Seeing Chen Daoxian's eager expression, concubine Chenxue warmly dissuaded him. Chen Lang, you are talented. Even if you don't rely on the Golden Crow fragment, it will be a matter of time before you enter the 3rd floor of the world. Why go to the battlefield outside the territory to take risks? Besides, your current cultivation is only in the late Jindan stage. For you, it is important to raise your cultivation to the nascent soul stage as soon as possible. Hearing this dissuasion, Chen Daoxian pondered for a while, shook his head and said, I also hope to gradually and steadily improve my strength, but the demon court in the real demon world is about to move. By then, if the strength is not enough, then regret it, but it will be too late. Hearing this, Fei Chenxue fell silent. It stands to reason that the Qingqiu demon nation is a remote demon power in the real demon world. But even so, there are envoys from the demon court who come to recruit the Qingqiu demon nation. Can be seen how fast Yaoting moves. Although there are many demon powers in the real demon world, I don't want the demon court to rule the real demon world. However, there are real fairy-level world demons behind the demon court, and these forces of the demon country cannot resist for long in front of the demon court. Be prepared for danger in times of peace, not to mention that the Fengyun world is not so safe now. Originally, the strength of the Phoenix Meteor Realm was not comparable to that of the True Demon Realm. Once the real demon realm was unified, the strength would even crush the Phoenix Meteor Realm. At that time, the tragic phenomenon of the human race in the real demon world will inevitably reappear in the Phoenix Meteor world. Thinking of this, Fei Chenxue shuddered. Chen Lang is right. It's the concubine's lack of thought, Fei Chenxue said in a low voice. Seeing that concubine Chengshu's mood was a little low, Chen Daoxian gently held the opponent's roi, and said with relief, this battle is definitely going to be fought. I just hope that before this battle between the 2 realms completely breaks out, I can make my Chen family harmonious. Qianyuan Jianzong has enough self-protection power. At least, I won't let Yaoting fish and meat. Fei Chenxue raised her head and looked at Chen Daoxian's crystal-clear eyes. She couldn't help leaning her head gently in his arms. You mean, can we win? Must be able to. Chen Daoxian raised his head, looked at the rising sun outside the spirit boat, and said firmly, the spirit boat is extremely fast. After passing through the Taizhou passage, Chen Daoxian and Fei Chenxue did not continue to ride the spirit boat, but chose to use teleportation to hurry. Fei Chenxue was not proficient in the laws of space, so along the way, Chen Daoxian took her to teleport. With Chen Daoxuan's consciousness, he could teleport thousands of miles at most at a time. But he has other ways, and that is to use Michan Banner to teleport. Chen Daoxian used the space node left by Mi Chanfan and moved several times before returning to Shuanghu Island, Twin Lakes Island. Concubine Chenxue saw Chen Daoxian put away the blue Michan Banner and said with emotion, "This small banner is really convenient. With it, ordinary Yuaning Zhenjuan may not be able to do anything. No wonder Shenjue Zhenren can run so well." Listening to concubine Chenxue talking about immortal Shenjue, Chen Daoxian smiled and said, "You think Mi Chanfan is convenient now? That's because we, Wan Xinghai, haven't built enough space to teleport. For example, when traveling from Taizhou to Cangzhou, if true monarch nascent soul, who is proficient in the laws of space, can use space teleportation to travel, but the vast majority of monks can only rely on the spirit boat to travel. Taizhou is hundreds of thousands of miles away from Cangzhou, and it would take several months to travel by spirit boat. What if we build a space teleportation array between the two states? Or, if we connect all the states of Wan Xinghai with the space teleportation formation, how strong will our control over Wan Xinghai become?" Hearing this, Fei Chenxue couldn't help but be fascinated. But soon she shook her head because this idea was not realistic at all. If all the states in Wan Xinghai are connected by space teleportation formations, how many space teleportation formations must be built? You must know that the Qianyuan sword sect now only has 4 space teleportation formations in total. One of them is in the sect of Qianyuan Jianzong, and the other 3 are all in the territory of Izumo. No way, Izumo is too far away from Wan Xinghai. Without building a large space teleportation formation, it is impossible to control this territory effectively. Even so, Qianyuan Jianzong used the power of the entire sect to build only 3 space teleportation formations. It can be seen how terrifying the consumption of resources is when building a space teleportation formation. Of course Chen Daoxian understood this. He smiled and said, "Now we have no money, but it will be different soon." When Fei Chenxue heard this, she immediately reacted. If the plan to attack the real demon world was successfully implemented, the result is probably as true as Chen Daoxian said. And soon enough resources will be available to closely connect the entire Wangxinghai with the space teleportation formation. By then Qianyuan Jianzong and the Chen family's dominance over Wan Xinghai will reach an unprecedented peak. Thinking of this, Fei Chenxue, who was originally afraid of attacking the real demon world, could not wait to take control of the 4 major demon kingdoms immediately, and then use industrial production to plunder the resources of the real demon world. Seeing Fei Chenxue's impatient appearance, Chen Daoxian knew that she was completely moved. How to firmly control the territory under his command in the hands of the sect has always been a common problem of all sect forces in the Fengyun world. The vast territory made them have to use the power of the Xiuxian family to control the territory under their command. But borrowing the power of the Xiuxian family to control the territory will face the phenomenon that the Xiuxian family's tail cannot be lost, such as the Cangzhou family. In essence, the Cangzhou family is a typical tail too big. Fortunately, Fei Chenxue used the marriage of the 2 supreme rulers to eliminate this life and death struggle. Although the problem of the Chen family has been solved, the problem that the Xiuxian family may not be able to solve in the future has not been completely ended. If Chen Daoxian learned about Fei Chenxue's thoughts, she would definitely find out that she was actually considering changing the feudal system of divided families into a centralized system with Zongmen as the core. If this move is successful, it will surely achieve a huge leap forward in the system. Maybe in the future, the sect and the immortal family will disappear, replaced by the immortal kingdom, or the immortal dynasty. Seeing Fei Chenxue's excited appearance, Chen Daoxian laughed dumbly and said, "Okay, you said I was impatient, but you were even more impatient than me. Raiders of the real demon world must not be rushed, and the most important thing is not to let the demon garden or other demon kingdom forces find clues." "Well, I see." Fei Chenxue looked at him affectionately. "Then, I will go back to the sect first and arrange for the complete control of the 4 demon kingdoms. Okay, I'll be in charge of industrial expansion." After the 2 finished speaking, they waved goodbye over Shuanghu Island. Both of them knew that now was not the time to be gentle. Although this trip to the real demon world was short, This short time together allowed Chen Daoxian and Fei Chunxue to have a deeper understanding of each other's temperaments. Although he and Fei Chunxue were political marriages, they were different from the political marriages in the mortal kingdom. He and concubine Chunxue are not only the supreme rulers of the Chun family and Qinyuan sword sect, but also possess the terrifying power of the left and right forces. Once the two of them are at odds, this political marriage will be a joke. It turned out that both Fei Chunxue and Chen Daoxian were very satisfied with each other. Chapter 421. Looking at the beauty who disappeared from the sky. Chen Daoxian couldn't help clenching the storage ring in his hand, and Fei Chengxi's words before leaving seemed to be in his ears. Chun Lang, these are the only 3 Saint Yuan fruits left in the Qinyuan sword sect. My concubine hopes that when I meet you next time, Chun Lang is already a Yuaning cultivator. Call. Chen Daoxian breathed a sigh of relief, his figure flashed and disappeared. Twin Lakes Island. Patriarch Immortal Mansion. As Chen Daoxian's cultivation place, the Patriarch's Immortal Mansion has undergone several expansions and renovations, and now it is a huge building complex covering an area of hundreds of thousands of square meters. In the Immortal Mansion, there are many palaces, and the scenery of forest gardens can be seen everywhere. What's more amazing is that in this Immortal Mansion, there are a total of 108 spiritual lakes formed by spiritual eyes embedded in it, reflecting this immortal mansion like a holy place of a fairy. In front of a spirit lake in the Immortal Mansion, a slender and beautiful woman wearing a tulle fairy dress is playing in the Linghu Lake. Suddenly, a figure suddenly appeared in the pavilion beside Linghu Lake. Chen Daoxian looked at the figure in the Linghu Lake and sat down on the stone bench in the pavilion by himself. In Linghu, Luoli, who was playing in the water, finally sensed something strange. After turning his head to see Chen Daoxian, his beautiful eyes were full of joy. Chen Lang, you're back. As soon as the words fell, Luoli jumped up from the spirit lake with a clatter. By the time her figure flew in front of Chen Daoxian, she was already dressed. The clothes Luoli was wearing were originally a third-order magic weapon fairy clothes. This magic weapon fairy clothes was a defensive magic weapon, specially developed for female cultivators by the Chun Family Magic Tool Research Institute. Although its defensive effect is not as good as spirit armor, it is more convenient to wear and has a beautiful appearance. Therefore, this kind of magic weapon fairy clothes is deeply loved by the majority of female cultivators in Wanxinghai. The only downside is that the highest rank of the magic weapon immortal clothes refined by the Chun family is only the 3rd rank lower rank, which seems a bit tasteless to those female cultivators above Jindan. However, Luoli was only in the purple house period now, so it was very suitable to wear this kind of magic weapon immortal clothes refined by the Chun family. Looking at the beautiful woman in front of him who looked like a water fairy, Chen Daoxian smiled and said, "Well, miss me." Hearing this, even though Luoli was already married to Chen Daoxian, he couldn't help but blush slightly. She didn't speak, just walked forward quickly, hugged Chen Daoxian, buried her head deeply in Chen Daoxian's chest, and felt the other's strong heartbeat. "Liar, I want to tell you something." "Okay." Luoli raised her head and looked at Chen Daoxian. "I?" Chen Daoxian looked at Luoli's happy and innocent face, but he couldn't say what he said. Luoli seemed to notice something, let go of the hands holding Chen Daoxian and said softly, "Chen Lang, you and I are one husband and wife. If you have anything to say, just say it." Hearing this, Chen Daoxian finally made up his mind. "Liar, I want to become a Taoist companion with the sect master of Qinyuan sword sect." "What?" When Luoli heard this, her first reaction was not anger, but stunned. Seeing Luoli's small mouth opening slightly with an unbelievable look on his face, Chen Daoxian said solemnly, "If you want to scold, scold me." "Who knows?" Luoli tilted her head and said, "Why does the concubine scold you?" This. Luoli's words caught Chen Daoxian a little off guard. According to common sense, when a woman hears that her other half is looking for a new love, shouldn't she jump in a hurry? Why is Luoli's expression so calm? Just when Chen Daoxian was extremely puzzled, Luoli said softly, "My concubine has long known that, given the current situation in Wanxinghai, the marriage between the Chun family and Qinyuan sword sect is inevitable, but the concubine did not expect that the marriage with Chen Lang would be unexpected. Not Fairy Qi Yao, but the sect master of Qinyuan sword sect." Speaking of this, Luoli still had an unreal feeling. But thinking about it carefully, whether it is strength or status, my husband can be worthy of the sect master of Qianyuan sword sect, so I am not surprised for long. Liar, aren't you angry? Chen Daoxian couldn't hold back. This was not the same as Luoli's reaction in his imagination. Luoli caressed Chen Daoxian's cheek and said warmly, as a woman, of course you will be angry when you hear that your husband is going to marry another woman. But as the wife of the patriarch of the Chen family, in addition to considering my own feelings, I also need to consider the thousands of cultivators in the Chen family and the larger number of ordinary people. She paused. Today's Wan Xinghai, the Chen family and Qianyuan sword sect are the most powerful. Once the Chen family and Qianyuan sword sect are at odds, a war will inevitably break out between the two. Are you worried that I will lose? Luoli shook his head. Chen Lang has never lost, and his concubine doesn't believe that anyone in this world can defeat her husband, but the Chen family is different. Compared with the large number of disciples of the Qianyuan sword sect, the strength of the Chen family cultivator is still relatively high. Too weak. Except for the husband, the Chen family cannot compete with Qianyuan Jianzong in terms of comprehensive strength. If the Chen family and Qianyuan Jianzong really had a conflict, how many casualties would my Chen family cultivator have? As the wife of the head of the Chen family, I really couldn't bear to see this scene. After hearing these words, Chen Daoxian seemed to know Luoli on the first day. He stroked Luoli's hair and said with emotion, "Liar, you have changed. Everyone can change." Luoli looked at Chen Daoxian, put her small hand gently on Chen Daoxian's waist, and twisted it hard, but the concubine's love for her husband has never changed. Saying that, a pair of beautiful eyes curved into a crescent moon. In order to cooperate with Luoli, Chen Daoxian deliberately bared his teeth and looked like he was in pain. Luoli twisted for a while and saw Chen Daoxian begging for mercy, and then she was satisfied and put away her jade hand. Chen Daoxian looked at her quietly. Luoli said angrily, "Why are you looking at me like this?" "Nothing." Chen Daoxian smiled. "By the way, I have to retreat for a while to break through the nascent soul period." "Real?" Luo Likio's face was full of joy. "My concubine is here to wish my husband a successful baby marriage." Having said that, he gave Chen Daoxian a blessing. "Lend your auspicious words." Chen Daoxian smiled. Then, he took Luoli into his arms and whispered in her ear, "Liar, I'm sorry." "Say it." Chen Daoxian's figure disappeared in front of Luoli inside the gazebo. Luoli stood there alone, tears streaming down her face. Chen Daoxian should have removed a stone from his heart when he explained the matter of marrying concubine Chen Shui to Luoli, but in fact, his mood was not at all relaxed. Especially when he saw the scene where Luoli burst into tears. Quiet indoors. Chen Daoxian sat on the Wenyu futon, and a Taoist heart could not calm down for a long time. After so many years of cultivation, this is the first time for him. Although Luoli showed great generosity in front of him, Chen Daoxian knew in his heart that he still made Luoli sad after all. But marrying Qianyuan Jianzong is the best choice for both the Chen family and Chen Daoxian himself. Otherwise, just like Luoli's analysis, one mountain can't hold two tigers, and there will be a battle between the Chen family and Qianyuan Jianzong. Only when the supreme rulers of the two families marry can the Chen family and Qianyuan Jianzong be completely united. However, the only person who was hurt by this move was Luoli. She wants to share her husband with other women. Even though Fengyun realm was different from Chen Daoxian's previous life, it practiced polygamy, and it was only natural for the strong to have as many partners as possible. But the world is different, but human nature is the same. No woman will share her other half with another woman, unless she doesn't love her other half. Lori is the same. Quiet indoors. Chen Daoxian sat for 3 days, but he could not calm down. In desperation, Chen Daoxian began to recite the Hongming Enlightenment Classic. Over and over again, Chen Daoxian didn't know how many times he recited the scriptures, and finally calmed the turbulent Dao heart. "Open your eyes again." Chen Daoxian's eyes have become clear. He immediately took out a storage ring and took out 3 jade boxes from the storage ring. The 3 jade boxes contained the famous Shengyuan fruit. Chen Daoxian had already taken one of the treasures of Shengyuan fruit before. He opened the first jade box, and it turned out to be the same as the Shengyuan fruit he had taken before. This Shengyuan fruit was 30 years old and the peel was blue. This treasure can quickly improve the cultivator's qi cultivation. Like this cyan holy fruit in his hand, it has the best effect on the Jindan cultivator. Immediately, Chen Daoxian opened the second jade box, but when he saw the second Shengyuan fruit, his face suddenly changed. Red. Chen Daoxian was shocked. It was not the cyan Shengyuan fruit of 30 years, but the red Shengyuan fruit of 300 years. You know, there are 3 kinds of Shengyuan fruit: 30 years, 300 years, and 3,000 years. This 300-year-old red Saint Yuan fruit is a treasure that can quickly improve the cultivation of Yuaning cultivators. Chen Daoxian did not expect that concubine Qinxue would actually hand over all such treasures to him. It can be seen that Fei Qinxue regarded Chen Daoxian as her husband from the bottom of her heart. Otherwise, it would never be possible to give this treasure to him. Even if Fei Qinxue couldn't use it, wouldn't the disciples of her Qinyuan sword sect use it? Moreover, although Fei Qinxue is the sect master of Qinyuan sword sect, she is not alone in Qinyuan sword sect. Fei Qinxue took out such a precious treasure from the sect and handed it over to Chen Daoxian, thinking that she had to pay a small price. Chen Daoxian knew this. The value of this red holy essence fruit is completely different from the blue holy essence fruit. In the past, the Qinyuan sword sect raised its sect to help Liang Jiyuan, and among all the treasures obtained, this red Shengyuan fruit may be among the best. Chen Daoxian knew that Fei Qinxue was able to take out this treasure for him, except that the two were about to marry, and she wanted to deepen their relationship. There is another important reason, that is, the past few days of going to the real demon world, the other party already has his shadow in his heart. It is the most difficult to endure the grace of a beauty, and Chen Daoxian finally has this feeling now. They all talk about the blessings of the people of Qi, but when 2 women are really attracted to you, this kind of blessing may not be so easy to enjoy. Shaking his head, he threw the distracting thoughts out of his mind. Chen Daoxian opened the 3rd jade box again. This jade box is the same as the first jade box, and it contains a cyan Shengyuan fruit. 2 cyan Shengyuan fruit and 1 red Shengyuan fruit. If he takes all of them, it will not only allow Chen Daoxian to break through the nascent soul period, but also make his cultivation take a big step in the nascent soul period. Thinking of this, Chen Daoxian took out another jade bottle. What this jade bottle contains is not something else. It is the 4th order elixir that assists in breaking through the nascent soul stage, the pregnancy and infant pill. Soothe the mood again. Chen Daoxian immediately took a blue Saint Yuan fruit. The blue-colored Shengyuan fruit melts in the mouth. Chen Daoxian has the experience of taking the Shengyuan fruit once. He knows that there will be a lot of special spiritual energy that will burst out of the Shengyuan fruit. It was exactly as he expected. A terrifying spiritual energy gushes out from the Saint Yuan fruit. As soon as these special auras pour into Dantian, they are transformed into golden core mana and stored in Dantian. With the continuous influx of special spiritual energy, the accumulation of Jindan mana is also getting faster and faster. Before he knew it, Chen Daoxian's cultivation level had broken through from the 8th level of the golden core to the 9th level of the golden core. Although he only broke through the 1st level of cultivation, and the improvement of Chen Daoxian's strength was not obvious, it made him 1 step closer to the nascent soul stage. After breaking through the 1st level of cultivation, the spiritual energy in the cyan Shengyuan fruit is far from exhausted. Chen Daoxian's cultivation continued to climb. Soon his cultivation level climbed to the pinnacle of the 9th level of the golden core, and finally he rushed directly to the 9th level of the golden core. At this point, the spiritual energy of the cyan Shengyuan fruit has not been exhausted. You must know that last time he took a holy essence fruit, but he directly upgraded his cultivation from the early stage of Jindan to the later stage of Jindan. Compared with this terrifying improvement effect, where is this now? Chen Daoxian knew that the opportunity could not be missed, and he took the pregnant baby pill, ready to hit the nascent soul realm in one go. Chen Daoxian's Dao realm has far exceeded his cultivation base, and with the help of the cyan Shengyuan fruit and the pregnant baby pill, if he can't break through the nascent soul stage, then I am afraid that no one in this world can break through the nascent soul stage. Take it with pregnant and infant pills. Chen Daoxian found that the golden pill in his Zifu was beating slowly like a heart. Boom! 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 With the strong and powerful beating of the golden core, the magic power of the golden core was continuously swallowed by Chen Daoxian's golden core. Chen Daoxian found that with every time his Jindan exhaled mana, his Jindan mana became more pure. It stands to reason that Chen Daoxian's cultivation has reached the realm of Jindan great perfection, and his Jindan mana will not continue to rise, but the fact is that his Jindan mana is still rising. Chen Daoxian, who is familiar with the classics, knows that this is a sign that the mana is about to break the bottleneck. In the process of Jindan cultivator breaking through the nascent soul stage, the first thing that began to transform was still mana. As for nascent soul, it was the last step to break out of the golden core. The duration of this process varies according to the individual situation of the monk, but there is a saying that, the more mana a cultivator can hold in his dantian, the higher his height will be after he breaks through the nascent soul stage. You must know that the height of the nascent soul is directly related to the cultivation of the monks in the nascent soul period. That is to say, if the dantian of the Jindan cultivator can hold enough mana, the cultivator might not be able to directly rise to the second or even the third floor of the nascent soul after breaking through the nascent soul stage. Of course, this is extremely rare. Even if it happens occasionally, it is all the result of the accumulation of cultivator Jindan. At this point, in fact, Chen Daoxian does not have much advantage. The mana stored in his dantian is actually not much compared to ordinary Jindan cultivators. The reason why Chen Daoxian showed infinite mana outside was the help of the magic weapon of creating a white lotus. Chapter 422. Twin Lakes Island. An escaped light from far to near landed in the patriarch's immortal mansion. In front of a spirit lake. Chen Daoxian lowered her escape light, looked at Luoli in a daze in the pavilion, stepped forward quickly, and said with a smile, "What are you thinking about, sister, what?" Luoli was startled when she saw Chen Daoxian. She forced a smile on her face, shook her head and said, "It's nothing, why did my sister come to me today?" Chen Daoxian thought that Luoli was in a low mood because the patriarch had been away from home for a long time. The beginning of the Dao? Luoli was stunned for a moment, then looked behind Chen Daoxian. Did he not come? Chen Daoxian waved her hand and said in a relaxed tone, "He's busy now, I'm afraid he doesn't have time to run around. No, let me be his errand." Because Chen Daoxian often retreats, or is not in the clan, Chen Daoxian and Luoli have been together for many years, and they have a deep relationship for a long time. In addition, the relationship between Chen Daoxian and Luoli became closer after Zhang Taiyuan, the ancestor of the Zhang family, abducted the old patriarch Chen Xianhe, so they talked very casually. In the eyes of outsiders, the relationship between the two of her is not like a sister-in-law, but more like a sister. "It's a bit unfortunate that my sister came today. Chen Lang is in retreat." "Shut up again." Chen Daoxian frowned, although she had long been used to Chen Daoxian being a cultivator, but when she learned that Chen Daoxian had just returned to the family, she couldn't wait to retreat, and she still felt a little sympathetic to Luoli. Her clan brother is too incomprehensible. Every time I go out and come back, I almost never accompany Luoli, but turn around and go to retreat. No wonder Luoli's expression was very low. "Sister, don't be angry, the patriarch is just focusing on his practice." Hearing this, Luoli gently took Chen Daoxian's hand and said warmly, "You don't need to say it, sister, I know that, I'm not blaming Chen Lang. The Chen family is such a big family, it seems that the scenery is infinite, but all the safety is tied to Chen Lang alone, and I know how much responsibility he bears." Hearing this, Chen Daoxian sighed. "My sister is so profound and righteous. It is the blessing of the patriarch and the blessing of the Chen family." "You?" Luoli scratched Chen Daoxian's nose. The two laughed for a while. Luoli continued, "Actually, this time, Lang Chen was not in an ordinary retreat. He told me before the retreat that he was going to have a baby." "What?" Hearing this news, Chen Daoxian jumped up from the stone bench in the pavilion with excitement. Her breathing couldn't help becoming rapid, and she said, "Is this true?" Luoli smiled and looked at Chen Daoxian without saying a word. Seeing this, Chen Daoxian couldn't hold back at all, and hurriedly paced in the pavilion. Alas, for such a big matter, the patriarch actually made a decision so lightly. From Chen Daoxian's point of view, Chen Daoxian breaking through the nascent soul period is the top priority of the Chen family. The entire Chen family should pay attention and mobilize as never before. But in Chen Daoxian's eyes, it seems that breaking through the nascent soul stage is no big deal. If you think about it, it does. Chen Daoxuan's Dao realm has long reached the second level of the world realm. You must know that many Yuanshan Daijins have only reached the second level of the world realm. Chen Daoxuan's Dao realm has long been incompatible with his cultivation. Unfortunately, Chen Daoxuan's Dao realm has improved too fast, even though he has been practicing hard all these years, and even used several treasures that have been quickly promoted to Qi refining cultivation. But his cultivation still can't keep up with his own Dao realm. However, there are some advantages in this way, that is, Chen Daoxuan's combat power far exceeds his cultivation. In addition, there is another advantage, that is, there are no barriers to breaking through the cultivation base. Unlike other monks, breaking through from the Jindan stage to the nascent soul stage is all trepidation. Chen Daoxian had no such worries. The Dao realm on the second floor of the world realm gave him endless confidence. Inside the gazebo, Luoli looked at Chen Daolian, who had always been calm and anxious, and hurriedly said something to comfort him. "Sister, don't worry, I see the expression on Chen Lang's face before retreating, so I should be absolutely sure. Besides, in all these years, which time has he let us down?" Sure enough, hearing this, Chen Daolian's mood suddenly calmed down. "Sister is right, it's my sister that am too anxious." Saying that, he sat down in front of Luoli again. Seeing Chen Daolian's mood recovering, Luoli hesitated. "Sister, you and I are like sisters, just say something." Chen Daolian saw the hesitant look on Luoli's face, grabbed the opponent's jade hand gently, and said softly, "Then, go set it." "Okay." Chen Daolian nodded. "Sister Daolian, what do you think of the Chen family and Qinyun Jianzong?" Hearing this, Chen Daolian couldn't help frowning. If you want to say who is the most powerful force in Wanxinghai after recovering from the Cloud Kingdom, there is no doubt that it must be the Qinyun sword sect. Besides Qinyuan Jianzong, Wanxinghai's second largest force is her Zhangzhou Chen family. No one doubts this. Chen Daoxian alone broke into the Zhang family's land in Taizhou and killed the ancestors of the Zhang family. In addition, Chen Daoxian and Qin Zhan joined forces to raid the Qingwei Taoist sect and the Taishan Shui. Let Chen Daoxian become more and more famous in Wanxinghai. The entire Wanxinghai true monarch Yuaning is being passed on in private, and with Chen Daoxuan's strength, he may be ranked among the top 3 in the entire Wanxinghai. This rating is quite high. Moreover, characters like Chen Daoxian have never appeared since Qinyuan Jianzong ruled Wanxinghai. Although over thousands of years, Wanxinghai has given birth to hundreds of Yuaning true monarchs who were not from the Qinyuan sword sect, but none of them can possess such terrifying strength as Chen Daoxian. This resulted in the breaking of the dominance of the Qinyuan sword sect in the Wanxinghai family. As we all know, no matter for any region, the breaking of the pattern often means the arrival of war. The reason is very simple. The inherent pattern is accompanied by the inherent distribution of interests. If the long-standing pattern is broken, new disputes of interests will inevitably arise, and war will follow. After all, there is no power that can willingly hand over the interests in their hands to others. Such a simple truth, Chen Daolian, as the acting patriarch, couldn't be more clear. Seeing that Chen Daolian was silent, Luoli sighed. "You also think that there is a risk of war between the Chen family and Qinyuan sword sect, right?" After a while, Chen Daolian nodded. "It is true, but my Chen family has a patriarch. Even if it is Qinyuan Jianzong, my Chen family is not afraid of it." When it comes to Chen Daoxian, Chen Daolian's words have infinite confidence. In fact, for any cultivator of the Chen family, they look at Chen Daoxian the same way. In the eyes of all the Chen family cultivators, Chen Daoxian is a godlike existence. Even if the Chen family and Yuanshan Daojun, or even Du Jie Tianzuan are enemies, the Chen family believes that the patriarch can create miracles. This is the prestige Chen Daoxian has built up in the Chen family over the years. Luoli looked at Chen Daolian's confident look and smiled. That said, but the Qinyuan sword sect really broke out with the Chen family, and how many children of the Chen family have to be damaged? Hearing this, Chen Daolian stopped talking. Indeed, no matter how strong Chen Daoxian is, he is not strong enough to compete with the entire Qinyuan sword sect by himself. If the Chen family really broke out with the Qinyuan sword sect, in addition to uniting all the immortal families, they would definitely implement the strategy of temporarily retreating in the early stage. In other words, it is to break into pieces and fight guerrilla warfare with Qinyuan Jianzong. Even if the Chen family can win in the end, the clan may not survive. In this situation, Chen Dalian, as the acting patriarch of the Chen family, definitely does not want to see it. So I'm thinking, if the Chen family can marry Chen Yuan Jianzong, will this war be eliminated? Marriage. Chen Dalian frowned, and then she shook her head again. With the size of the Chen family and the Chen Yuan sword sect, who can get married to ease the conflict between the two families? It's not like the patriarch should marry the Chen Yuan sword sect master. Speaking of this, Chen Dalian couldn't help but smile bitterly. Why not? Luoli said softly. Sister, you mean for a time Chen Daolian's heart was beating like thunder. If the Chen family could really marry concubine Chen Xue, then the dispute between the Chen family and Chen Yuan Jianzong would disappear in an instant. Not only that, but with the talent of the patriarch, the Chen family and Chen Yuan Jianzong formed an alliance, which will inevitably be dominated by the patriarch in the future. Chen Daolian never doubted this. What does Chen Daoxian lack the most? Time. It has only taken him less than 100 years to cultivate so far. In less than 100 years, he has achieved achievements that other monks may not have achieved in thousands of years. It can be said that with Chen Daoxian's talent, even if he tried several times in the entire Phoenix Meteor realm, he could not find a second one. Once the Chen family unites with Chen Yuan Jianzong to form a force similar to the Xianqing Taoist alliance, is it still a sure thing that Chen Daoxian will be the leader of this force in the future? Thinking of this, Chen Dalian couldn't help but think of the two alliances in her mind. How should she place the children of the Chen family in this alliance to achieve the purpose of controlling the actual power of this alliance? Luoli watched Chen Daolian's expression change, and sat there quietly without speaking. A long time. Realizing that the atmosphere in the pavilion was a little quiet, Chen Dalian realized that the patriarch married the sect master of Chen Yuan Jianzong, and the one who suffered the most was not the one in front of him? Thinking of this, Chen Dalian couldn't help admiring Luoli's mind. Ask yourself, if Chen Daoxian is her husband, can she make such a decision? After thinking about it for a long time, Chen Dalian shook her head. I'm afraid she can't be as generous as Luoli, elder sister. Chen Dalian called out softly. Luoli smiled and then changed the conversation. By the way, you said that you asked you to come to Chen Lang in the first place. Why? Seeing that Luoli changed the subject, Chen Dalian sighed in his heart but said, it's because of the magic tool machine tool. The Magic Tool Research Institute has already finalized the first order magic tool machine tool. Chen Daochu was organizing people from the Magical Item Research Institute to transform the Magical Item Factory in Guanhai Xiancheng. Before I came here, the first phase renovation project of the Magical Item Factory had ended. So fast? A look of joy appeared on Luo Likio's face. The fact that the Chen family's Magic Tool Research Institute developed the Magic Tool Machine tool is a top secret of the Chen family, but Luo Li, as the wife of the patriarch, naturally has the right to know this secret. As far as Luo Li knew, it had only been more than a year since the machine tool was developed, and now even the factory has been renovated. This speed is too fast. The Chen family seems to be influenced by Chen Daoxian, the powerful patriarch, and they pay great attention to efficiency in everything they do. If it wasn't for the Chen family's children who really didn't have the perverted talent of Chen Daoxian, maybe everyone's cultivation speed would be on par with Chen Daoxian. This is a strong leadership core, a positive influence on a force. It's not too fast. It's been more than a year since Chen Daochu developed the machine tool. It took so long to complete the transformation of the first phase of the magic weapon factory, which is too slow for me. Luo Li shook his head. This is something that can't be helped. There were so many first-order refiners in the previous magic tool factory, but with the emergence of new magic tools, these first-order tool refiners will probably lose their jobs. Presumably for more than a year, you have been busy arranging these people? Hearing this, Chen Dalian sighed. Yes. The emergence of the Chen family's assembly line production line once made Songzhou's desolate and impoverished scattered cultivators find a job that allows them to earn enough cultivation resources. But with the advent of the machine tool, their job was smashed by the Chen family. Despite the power of the Chen family, no one dared to say anything. But Luo Li's inner disappointment and anger could not be hard to imagine. After all, when she followed the Merman clan, the days when she wandered in the underwater world of Wangxinghai had some similarities with these scattered cultivators in Songzhou, and everyone lived a precarious life. Even a cultivator yearns to practice peacefully in his heart. Like those loose cultivators who are afraid that the world will not be in chaos, they are very few after all. Moreover, these robbery and homeless cultivators are also lacking in resources, so they were forced to come this way. If there are enough cultivation resources, any loose cultivator's brain will be crowded by the door, and they will do these extremely risky things. When it comes to the scattered repairs in Guanhai Xiancheng, Chen Daolian and Luo Li felt a little down for a while. Influenced by Chen Daoxian, both Chen Daolian and Luo Li treat those loose cultivators at the bottom of the cultivation world with a kind heart. Unlike other cultivators of the immortal cultivation clan, their gazes upon loose cultivators were all filled with disdain and contempt. This point, the loose cultivator of Guanhai Xiancheng can also feel that the cultivator of the Chen family is very different from the cultivator of other cultivator families. Speaking of which, in Wan Xinghai, the only two forces who can treat loose cultivators with this attitude are the Qianyuan sword sect and the Chen family. As for other forces, even true monarch Yuanchen, who came from a loose cultivator, could not treat the loose cultivator with such a generous and peaceful attitude. Quiet indoors. A white figure sat on the Wenyu futon. At this moment, in Chen Daoxuan's closed room, a violent beating sound echoed in the room. Boom! 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 As time passed, it seemed as if the heart beat faster and faster. In Dantian, the golden core continued to expand, and then clustered and shrunk again and again. Time passed little by little. Blink of an eye. Half a year has passed. Boom! On this day, Chen Daoxuan's Dantian exploded. I saw a figure like a baby, as if a life emerged from the shell, drilled out of the broken golden core. With the Yuanying drilled out from the Jindan, the broken golden core quickly merged into Yuanying's body. Chen Daoxian saw that each piece of Jindan was integrated into Yuanying, and Yuanying's height increased by 1 point. In the end, Chen Daoxuan's nascent soul grew from an inch to an inch and a half, and then it slowly stopped. Looking at Yuanying and his Dantian, Chen Daoxian found that this Yuanying's face was exactly the same as his. Is this the Yuanying? Chen Daoxuan's consciousness sank, and he found that his consciousness actually appeared in Yuanying. Afterwards, he looked at his own Dantian Qi Si. This was the first time for him to look at Dantian Qi Si and Zifu from the perspective of nascent soul. This feeling is very special. It was as if his Dantian purple mansion was an immortal mansion standing on the sea of mana, and his nascent soul, who usually lives in the purple mansion in Dantian, can easily control the sea of mana below. Break through to the nascent soul period. Chen Daoxuan's first feeling was that he was strong. This kind of power is different from the power brought by the Dao realm and various instruments in the previous Jindan period. This is a kind of pure power of its own. Besides, Chen Daoxian also felt that his lifespan had skyrocketed, reaching 3,000 years of lifespan just like other Yuanying true monarchs. As for other aspects, Chen Daoxian has not had time to feel it yet, because he knew that the people outside the secret room had been waiting for him for a long time. 7017K. Chapter 423. Boom. With the opening of the stone door and the formation of the closed room, a group of familiar figures came into Chen Daoxuan's eyes. Daoxian, Chen Lang, Patriarch. Quiet outside. Chen Xianhe, Luo Li, Chen Daolian, Chen Daochu, Chen Fusheng, all stood not far away with surprise in their eyes. Chen Daoxuan's eyes swept across everyone. Uncle 13 Liar. In front of Chen Daoxuan Fai, he first said hello to the 13th uncle Chen Xianhe, then nodded to Luo Li, and finally, looked at the eager-eyed Chen clan. Daoxian, you have your defense? Chen Ziyan's cultivation was only at the foundation stage, and he could not see any change in Chen Daoxuan's cultivation. In fact, not only Chen Xianhe, but the Chen clan members present, even Chen Fusheng, who had the highest cultivation base, had only reached the late stage of Zifu, and they could not see the change in Chen Daoxuan's cultivation base. Everyone just felt that Chen Daoxuan's breath was very different from before. But they couldn't see the other party's cultivation. Looking at the eager eyes of everyone, Chen Daoxian nodded and smiled. Success! It really worked. Chen Daochu stepped forward excitedly. So, my Chen family is also the Yuanying family? You boy, Chen Daoxian shook his head with a smile. Yes, from now on my Chen family will be a veritable Yuanying family. Ha ha ha. Hearing this, the Chun clan members present could no longer restrain their excitement, and they all burst into laughter. Because they know that only the stronger the patriarch's strength, the more stable the Chun family's position will be. People of insight in the Chun family can see that since the Qianyuan sword sect recovered from the Yun kingdom, the Chun family's position is somewhat dangerous. Because of the strength of the Chun family, the dominance of Qianyuan Jianzong in Wuxia has been threatened. However, apart from Chen Daoxian, the Chun family couldn't come up with a second person who could suppress the ethnic movement. Even Chen Fusheng, the leader of the Zifu Tianjiao list, who is now known as Wan Xinghai, is still far behind the patriarch Chen Daoxian. In the eyes of the real powerhouses of Wan Xinghai, those who can make Qianyuan Jianzong take a fancy to at least have the strength of the top true monarch. Ordinary Yuanying monks are not in the eyes of Qianyuan Jianzong. After all, in the battle with Xianqing Dao League, Qianyuan Jianzong dispatched hundreds of Yuanying Jinju and ordinary Yuanying monks. In the eyes of Qianyuan Jianzong, it really is nothing. Quiet outside. The crowd laughed for a while and regained their composure. Chen Dalian took a step forward and said with a smile, "Patriarch, you succeeded in conceiving a baby. Do you need to hold a nascent soul ceremony to inform Wan Xinghai? Normally, when a monk breaks through to the nascent soul stage, he must hold a nascent soul celebration. First, it is an opportunity to show strength to the outside world. Second, it is also a chance to make money. After all, the cultivators who came to participate in the nascent soul celebration must have a high status. The gifts given by these people add up to a large sum of money. Of course, for the Chen family, making money is nothing. With the wealth accumulated by the Chen family, I can't despise this small wealth. As for showing strength to the outside world, Chen Dalian must ask Chen Daoxian for instructions. After all, as the acting patriarch of the Chen family, she vaguely knew the embarrassing status of the Chen family, and rashly showed her strength to the outside world, which might cause misunderstandings from Qianyuan Jianzong. Chen Daoxian could see Chen Daolian's concerns at a glance. He smiled and said, "The nascent soul celebration is unnecessary, but today the core children of my Chen family are all there. And I do have something to announce." Hearing this, everyone was in awe. Chen Daoxian continued, "The Chen family will form a new alliance with Qianyuan Jianzong. Not only that, but I also want to marry the concubine Chen Shui." "What? Patriarch, do you want to become a Taoist partner with the sect master of Qianyuan sword sect?" Chen Daoxuan's words were like a thunderbolt on the ground, and they blew everyone dumbfounded. If this sentence is said by outsiders, they will only think that the other party has hysteria and is a little confused. But this was announced by their godlike patriarch himself. In other words, their patriarch Chen Daoxian really wanted to become a Taoist companion with Chen Shui, the concubine of the Qianyuan sword sect. Originally guessed by the senior officials of the Chen family, the worry that the Chen family might fight against Qianyuan Jianzong disappeared completely. The patriarch of the Chen family is about to marry the suzerain of the Qianyuan sword sect, and the two families are about to become a family, so what else is there to fight? Although concubine Chengshi's status in Qianyuan sword sect, compared with Chen Daoxuan's status in the Chen family, there is still a gap. But since Fei Chenxue completely eradicated Yi Yin's lineage, he has firmly controlled the power of Qianyuan Jianzong. If the two really combine, the Chen family and the Qianyuan Jianzong alliance are definitely not false. Chen Dalian had been hinted by Luo Li before, but she was not very surprised. Chen Daochu was very nervous. He was the first to react and said quickly, "Patriarch, so isn't my Chen family going to become the ruler of Wan Xinghai and Izumo? The exact division of power is still up for debate, but my Chen family will indeed become the new ruler of Wan Xinghai." Chen Daoxian nodded, believing Chen Daochu's statement. As for Chen Xianhe on the side, he just felt dizzy. He never thought that the Qianyuan sword sect, which used to be like a moat to him, would be mastered by the Chen family. Chen Xianhe is not stupid. He can see that since the Qianyuan sword sect master agreed to marry Chen Daoxian, it means that the other party is willing to share the ruling authority of Wan Xinghai and Izumo with the Chen family. Since the Chen family and Qianyuan Jianzong formed an alliance, there must be an alliance leader. In all likelihood, his nephew Chen Daoxian held this position. What is a step to the sky? This is. Originally, with the strength of the Chen family, it would take hundreds of years to develop to the scale of the Qianyuan sword sect, even with the support of Chen Daoxian and the strong industrial strength of the Chen family. But now, directly saving hundreds of years of development, Wan Xinghai's authority is within easy reach of the Chen family. The patriarch broke through to the Yuanying period and was about to marry his concubine Chen Shui. The Chen family was about to form an alliance with Qin Yuan Jianzong. This was a double happiness for the Chen clan present. Just when everyone was excited, Chen Daoxian coughed, interrupting the excited clan, and instructed, "Although I have already discussed the matter with the Qin Yuan Sword Sect Alliance, the concubine sect master and I have already discussed it, but everyone must be prepared to deal with some opposition." At this time, Chen Fuxing stood up and cupped his hands. "Don't worry, Patriarch, if anyone in Wan Xinghai dares to talk nonsense about this matter, my Chen family will not forgive me lightly." Chen Daoxian looked at Chen Fuxing, who had broken through to the late stage of Zifu, and nodded, chatted with the crowd again. Seeing that Chen Daoxian looked a little tired, everyone said goodbye. Watching everyone leave, Chen Daoxian walked with Luo Li in the immortal mansion. Although the two were walking, Chen Daoxuan's thoughts drifted to somewhere. Chen Fuxing was already the most cultivated among the Chen family's many cultivators, but he had only reached the late period of Zifu. Even if Chen Fuxing's strength is comparable to that of ordinary Jindan cultivators by virtue of the Chen family's power spirit armor and other magical weapons, compared with the power of Qin Yuan Jianzong, the strength of the rest of the Chen family is still too weak. Now that the Chen family wants to form an alliance with the Qin Yuan sword sect, they will inevitably face the division of power within the alliance. In the world of immortality, strength is always the reference standard for division of power. Even if Chen Daoxian became the leader of this new alliance, he would not be able to abruptly promote a cultivator of the Chen family Zifu to serve as the immediate boss of a Qin Yuan Jianzong Jindan Zhenren. This will inevitably lead to the instability of the governing structure of the alliance. Chen Daoxian now also faintly sees that Fei Qinshui agrees with the Chen family and the Qin Yuan sword sect alliance, and in all likelihood has this kind of mind. Everything in the Chen family is pinned on him. However, the rest of the Chen family are not strong. Even if the Chen family and Qin Yuan Jianzong form an alliance, the ordinary members of the Chen family can only become the middle and lower ranks of this new alliance at most. The high-level position of the alliance is bound to be occupied by the Yuanying true monarchs of Qin Yuan Jianzong. And facing this situation, Chen Daoxian had nothing to say. In addition, with the population base of Qin Yuan Jianzong far exceeding that of the Chen family, the alliance between the Chen family and Qin Yuan Jianzong will only be merged by Qin Yuan Jianzong. In this way, Qin Yuan Jianzong not only solved the Chen family's confidence troubles without blood, but also obtained Chen Daoxian, a gifted evildoer. Kill two birds with one stone. Concubine Chengshi's move is a naked conspiracy. Even if Chen Daoxian saw it, he had to agree. Because they did not agree, Qin Yuan Jianzong and the Chen family would have a fight. Although Chen Daoxian believed that the Chen family would not lose, what he said would not be lost was only because he himself would not lose. As for the rest of the Chen family, I am afraid that no one can survive the offensive of the Qin Yuan sword sect. This is also one of the fundamental reasons why Chen Daoxian finally agreed to concubine Qinshui. As for cooperation with Yiyin, Chen Daoxian did not think about it, but it was more troublesome in practice. Yiyin is just a representative of many immortal clans in Wan Xinghai. Once the Chen family joins Yiyin's family, they will face more open and secret battles. How many immortal families are there in Wan Xinghai? Countless. Even the Guangyuaning family has more than a dozen families. With so many immortal cultivating families, even if the Chen family is the best in strength, how can they unite them? In addition, Chen Daoxian did not agree with the Xiuxin family represented by Yiyin from the bottom of his heart, and naturally he would not choose to cooperate with them. At this moment, Chen Daoxian understood that the alliance between the Chen family and Qin Yuan sword sect was only the first step. The second step is to support the children of the Chen family and occupy the highest position in this alliance as much as possible, at least, to be able to compete with the original faction of Qin Yuan Jianzong concubine Snow. Thinking of her, Chen Daoxuan's feelings are very complicated. Because the other party, like him, did not want the Chen family to go to war with Qin Yuan Jianzong, and did not want to see the living beings of Wan Xinghai go to pieces. Fei Chengshi's strength is not only in her strength, but her wrist is the strongest among the women Chen Daoxian has ever seen. Even Chen Daolian, who has been the acting patriarch of the Chen family for many years, is very immature compared to him. Chen Daolian may be quite strong in handling internal affairs, but when it comes to long-term vision and political skills, he is still far behind Fei Qinxue. As for cultivation talent and strength, Chen Daolian didn't know how much worse than Fei Qinxue. No wonder, Fei Qinxue was not worried about Chen Daoxuan's companion, Luo Li. Perhaps in her eyes, she had never regarded Luo Li as an opponent at all. With a decision in mind, the rest is action. The Chen family cultivator is not strong enough and can be strengthened from two aspects. One is to strengthen one's own strength, and the other is to strengthen the comprehensive strength of the Chen family cultivator through foreign objects. There are many ways to strengthen one's own strength, such as improving body, qi, and spiritual cultivation, improving the realm of the Tao, practicing powerful secrets, magical powers, and so on. As for strengthening the comprehensive strength of the Chen family's children through foreign objects, there are more ways, such as magic tools, spirit talismans, puppets, raising spirit insects, imperial beasts, and so on. Of course, Chen Daoxuan's first choice is to strengthen the strength of the Chen family's children, or to quickly improve the Chen family's children's cultivation. Thinking of this, Chen Daoxian couldn't help but glanced at the two remaining St. Yuan fruits in the storage ring. Regarding the rapid improvement of cultivation, the only treasures Chen Daoxian saw were the essence of vitality and the fruit of holy essence. And compared with the essence of vitality, the effect of Shengyuan fruit is much better. The only pity is that the treasure of Shengyuan fruit is too precious according to legend. Only the Taiyin sect has fruit trees that can continuously produce Shengyuan fruit. If other cultivators want to obtain this treasure, they can only go to the battlefield outside the two realms and make military exploits. Once the cultivator has made enough military exploits, he can use the military exploits to exchange various resources and treasures in Tianzuan City, including the treasure such as Shengyuan fruit. Xianfu Forest Garden. Luo Li walked quietly beside Chen Daoxian. Liar! Suddenly, Chen Daoxian called out softly. Okay? Luo Li stopped and looked up at Ai Lang beside him. I just found out today that my Chen family cultivator strength is still too weak. Hearing this, Luo Li hurriedly comforted. Chen Lang must not say that. It has only been less than 100 years since the rise of the Chen family. Apart from you, the strongest of the family cultivators have already reached the late stage of Zifu, and the speed is not slow. It's not slow, but I can't wait. Can't wait. Luo Li was a little puzzled. Chen Daoxian expressed his concerns. You mean once the Chen family forms an alliance with Qinyuan Jianzong, they will be divided and merged by Qinyuan Jianzong? That's right. Apart from me, the most powerful members of the Chen family are only in the late period of Zifu. With such strength, how can they occupy a high position in this new alliance? Once the children of the Chen family cannot occupy a high position, the resources of the alliance will definitely not be tilted towards the children of the Chen family. If things go on like this, after hundreds of thousands of years, my Chen family will only become ordinary members of this new alliance, not its controllers. Hearing this, Luo Li stopped. Chen Lang, you are wrong. Luo Li shook his head. If I'm not mistaken, there must be one condition for marriage between the concubine and you, and that is to have offspring with you. How do you know? Luo Li didn't explain, but smiled and said, the descendants you have with your concubine will be in charge of this alliance in the future. What you said just now is obviously just because you don't believe in concubine, and it's because she doesn't know. Otherwise it is uncertain how sad it will be. Seeing Chen Daoxian frowning, Luo Li looked at him and said softly, Chen Lang, you are here, the Chen family is here. I am here and the Chen family is here. Chen Daoxian said this sentence, and suddenly became enlightened. That's right. As long as his strength keeps improving, who can suppress the children of the Chen family? All planning in the face of absolute strength, what does it count? He suddenly realized that he had misunderstood Fei Chengxu. The other party didn't set him up, and there was no conspiracy, because Fei Qinxue knew in her heart that it was simply unrealistic to try to control a person like Chen Daoxian by means of a conspiracy. If you had to say that Fei Qinxue set a trap for him, then the only trap was to give birth to a child for him. As everyone knows, compared to Chen Daoxuan's fear of concubine Qinxue is the one who truly fears Chen Daoxian after all. In the face of a freak like Chen Daoxian, Anyone who takes a closer look will be so frightened that he can't sleep at night. 7017K. Chapter 424. The Fairy City of Guang'an Prefecture. Young's Restaurant. On the second floor, scattered cultivators in twos and threes gathered at a table and sipped comfortably. What they talked about were the major events of Wanxinghai and even the entire Xianyun continent. Listening to their tone, people who didn't know thought they were powerful in how accurate their analysis of the world situation was. Hey, did you hear that? At the wine table, a monk in a green robe with his head on his head stretched his neck and said to everyone mysteriously, "The Chun family recently released news that Chan Daoxian, the head of the Chun family, is about to marry the sect master of Qianyuan sword sect. Is this true, fellow Taoist?" At the wine table, the fellow drinkers were amazed and inexplicable. The two people mentioned by their companions are not trivial. The Chun family is the most popular family in Wanxinghai, and its patriarch Chen Daoxian is known as the first genius of Wanxinghai. Its name even surpassed Qin Zhan, the master of Zhenhai Temple of Qianyuan Jianzong. As for the other person, it is even more incredible, the sect master of Qianyuan sword sect, the actual ruler of Wanxinghai. The two became Taoist companions, which was a great event for Wanxinghai. Seeing that everyone didn't believe him, the green-robed loose cultivator looked a little unhappy, raised his glass, and said with a displeased expression, "Do you believe me, Wu Mao, fellow Taoist Zhang?" Where, the cultivator surnamed Zhang hurriedly apologized, handing over his hands and saying, "In Guang'an Mansion, who does not know that your brother-in-law, Dao Zhang, is the third-order refiner of Guanhai Xiancheng? How could we doubt you, Dao Zhang?" Humph! When the cultivator surnamed Zhang heard this flattery, his heart was instantly relieved, and then he remembered something and sighed, "Alas, although my brother-in-law is a famous person in Guanhai Xiancheng, his life is a bit difficult now." "Oh, what's the reason? Isn't your brother-in-law a third-order refiner? Even if you can't stay in Guanhai Xiancheng, you can still get along well when you go to other places?" "I am not sure as well," Sancho surnamed Zhang shook his head. "Last time I went to Guanhai Xiancheng to visit my sister, she didn't tell me the specific reason, but just said that my brother-in-law is always sighing and feeling low." Another monk at the wine table didn't care about it. He only cared about the news that Chan Daoxian and Fei Chunxue had become Taoist companions. Compared with this explosive news, the companion brother-in-law is not in a high mood, and it is nothing at all. "Don't talk about this, Zhang Daoyu, let's talk about Chun Zhenren's marriage to the Qianyuan sword sect master, right?" Sure enough, there is no essential difference between monks and mortals who like to listen to gossip. What's more, this is the super big gossip at the top of Wanxinghai. When they heard their companions drag the topic back, everyone agreed. "That's right, Dao Zhang, don't betray yourselves. Let's talk about Patriarch Chen's marriage to the concubine and suzerain." "Extremely. Exactly." Hearing the urging of his companions, Daoist surnamed Zhang took it easy, cleared his throat, and began to talk about the news he heard in Guanhai Xiancheng. A VIP box in the restaurant. At the door stood two monks in blue clothes and carrying long swords. Inside the box, a young and beautiful female cultivator was sitting opposite a handsome male cultivator. Through the window, Yang Gongwan looked at the bustling restaurant, turned her head and said with emotion, "Dao Yuzhou also heard about it?" Zhou Mubai retracted his gaze from the window, looked at Yang Gongwan, and said, "I've heard of the story of Patriarch Chen's marriage to the concubine and the suzerain. I wonder what Zhou Dao thinks about this matter?" Zhou Mubai frowned, then smiled and said, "Patriarch Chen is the leader of my Cangzhou colleagues. His marriage to the concubine suzerain will definitely boost my strength and prestige in Cangzhou. Of course, I agree with such a happy event." Hearing these perfunctory words, Yang Gongwan said angrily, "Don't you think Qianyuan sword sect's attitude is a bit strange? The Chen family released the news of marrying concubine Chan Shui, but Qianyuan Jianzong did not respond at all, neither admitting nor denying it. What does this mean?" Zhou Mubai smiled. What else can there be? The decision of the concubine sect master and Chan patriarch to marry was blocked within the Qianyuan sword sect. Encountered. Yang Gongwan was a little puzzled. Although the sect master of the imperial concubine eradicated the Yin family and obtained the highest power of the Qianyuan sword sect, there are more than 10 top true monarchs in the Qianyuan sword sect, and there are hundreds of all the Yuanying true monarchs combined. With so many Yuanying true monarchs, it is impossible to make a decision based on the words of the concubine sect master. Yang Gongwan thought for a while, then nodded and said, "That's true. The bigger the power, the more interests are involved." Zhou Mubai nodded. "That's the truth. Qianyuan Jianzong is not a small family like us, and every decision it makes must be discussed by all the high-level officials." The marriage between the imperial concubine and the patriarch Chen had a great impact on the situation in Wanxinghai, and the senior officials of Qianyuan Jianzong would not agree so easily. Speaking of this, the two fell silent for a while. It is foreseeable that once Chen Daoxian and concubine Chen Xue get married, the situation of Wanxinghai will undergo earth-shaking changes. As members of the many family forces in Wanxinghai, how could the Zhou family and the Yang family not care? Twin Lakes Island. A young figure suddenly appeared above Shuanghu Road. As the consciousness unfolded, a trace of surprise flashed across Qin Zhan's face. "You have actually broken through to the nascent soul stage. Say it." His figure flashed again and disappeared. Patriarch Immortal Mansion. Zhan Zhan's figure suddenly appeared in Chen Daoxuan's closed room. Perceiving the person coming, Chen Daoxian opened his eyes and looked at him helplessly. "Aren't you going to knock on the door?" "Well, forgot." Qin Zhan shrugged. "Senior sister asked me to give it to you." Having said that, Qin Zhan threw a gourd-shaped magic weapon directly at Chen Daoxian. The latest Dongtian magic weapon in the refining hall is much bigger than the small tower you had before. Play Zhan to explain. Chen Daoxian took the gourd cave heavenly artifact thrown by Qin Zhan, and while immersing his consciousness in it, he said, "Your senior sister asked you to come here just to give this?" Of course not. Before Qin Zhan could finish speaking, he was interrupted by Chen Daoxian. "Have you taken down the 4 great demon kingdoms? Hear this." There was a hint of pride on Qin Zhan's face. "How about it, hurry up?" The surprised look on Chen Daoxuan's face slowly subsided, and he nodded. The speed is indeed fast enough, not to mention the extreme night demon country. The strength of the Great Yuan demon country and the Lion Camel demon country is extraordinary. The 2 big demon kingdoms combined are comparable to the weaker second-rate sects in Xianyenzhu. I didn't expect you to take it down in more than half a year. It's not all my credit. Over the years, the Shadow Palace has also had a lot of layouts in these 2 demon kingdoms, and even a lot of layouts. Apart from Senior Sister and the Hall Master of the Shadow Palace, even I don't know. Qin Zhan sighed. For a long time he thought that he knew everything about the Qianyuan sword sect, but this time he included the 4 major demon kingdoms and found that he was wishful thinking. He didn't know much about the many arrangements of Qianyuan sword sect. For example, he had never heard of the layout of the Shadow Palace in the Great Yuan Demon Nation. For a long time, Qin Zhan thought that the Qianyuan sword sect had no arrangements for the Great Yuan Demon Kingdom, but he did not expect that the Shadow Palace was not only arranged, but also penetrated into the harem of the Lord of the Great Yuan Demon Country. It can be described as scheming to the extreme. This time, all the resisting forces of the Great Yuan Demon Nation can be wiped out in one sweep. Although the strength of Qin Zhan World Realm occupies the first place, the support work of intelligence cannot be underestimated. Otherwise, there are so many demon masters in the Great Yuan Demon Kingdom, and they will not stand in the same place stupidly, waiting for the Qianyuan sword sect to annihilate them. Once the Qianyuan sword sect's extermination of the Great Yuan Demon Kingdom is revealed, it will not end well. It is not a trivial matter for the monks of the Phoenix Meteor Realm to invade the true demon realm. The consequences of this, the small Qianyuan Jianzong can't bear it at all. The reason why Chen Daoxian was so sure that Qin Zhan had taken down all the 4 demon kingdoms was because the gourd-shaped cave artifact he sent contained the massive resources he desperately needed. Among them, blood marrow and black crystal have the most resources. Looking around, about 2/3 of the entire cave is occupied by these 2 treasures. In addition to blood marrow and black crystal, the remaining 1/3 is the bluewood steel mine from the extreme night demon country. What Qin Zhan brought was not an empty cave artifact, but a massive resource of an entire cave artifact. Senior Sister said, "This is her dowry." After thinking for a while, Qin Zhan said again, "Oh yes, Senior Sister also knows that you need Jie Yuan's waist beads, right? She said that the Jie Yuanzhu waist beads continued by Qianyuan Jianzong are all yours." It's just that there are too many waste beads. After you and your senior sister get married, go to the sect to get them." Qin said a lot in one go, babbling like an old mother. Suddenly, Qin stopped talking, looked up at Chen Daoxian. His eyes were a little red and said, "Chen Daoxian, you have to be nice to my senior sister. Otherwise I swear by Qin, I will never die with you in this life." Looking at Qin's heartfelt words, Chen Daoxian nodded. "Don't worry. Okay, I believe you." Qin came over and wanted to pat Chen Daoxian on the shoulder, but after thinking about it, he seemed to think that this was inappropriate. Now Chen Daoxian's identity has changed. He is no longer the junior he could pat on the shoulder at will, and the other party is about to become his brother-in-law. Qin, who has been educated by the elders and children since childhood, naturally can no longer make such random actions. Chen Daoxian looked at Qin's hand in the air and knew what he wanted to do. Before he could pat his shoulder, he patted the other person's shoulder first. "See?" Qin stared, his expression quite dissatisfied, but then his face showed a helpless expression. "By the way, my senior sister asked me to come over. There is one more thing I need to clarify with you." "What's the matter?" Chen Daoxian saw his serious expression, and his face became serious. "Last time, after my senior sister returned to the sect, I proposed to the senior sect to marry you, but the senior sect was unanimously opposed. It is thanks to the senior who eliminated Yin's family, otherwise it may be a big mess this time." "Moth." Qin shook his head and sighed, and continued, "Although Yin's family has been eradicated and senior sister is in control, her status in the sect is definitely not as good as yours in the Chen family. Moreover, what senior sister did this time has indeed hurt the interests of the sect, and it is normal to be opposed by the senior sect." Heard the words. Chen Daoxian was silent. Fei Chenxua chose to marry him. On the one hand, the three views of the two were compatible, and on the other hand, Fei Chenxua understood the terrifying talent of Chen Daoxian. When she chose to marry Chen Daoxian, she was making a big gamble with herself and Qianyuan Jianzong as a bet. If the bet is won in the future, the alliance forces of Qianyuan Jianzong and the Chen family may be expected to have a glimpse of the topmost position in the Phoenix Meteor Realm and become a member of the highest seat in Tianzuan City. Losing the bet is just a share of Wan Xinghai's ruling authority to the Chen family. As for herself, concubine Chenxua did not think that marrying Chen Daoxian was a loss. Her previous proposal to marry Chen Daoxian was also the result of careful consideration. "What does your sister want me to do?" Qin smiled and said, "Senior sister, let me ask you. Do you want to be the leader of this alliance?" Chen Daoxian nodded unceremoniously. "Senior sister really guessed right." Qin sighed, "I don't understand. Why are you all thinking about occupying the highest position of power? It's so good to be like me, to focus on improving your own cultivation and strength, and you don't have to worry about those troubles. Having the highest position of power and not worrying about things are not in conflict." Hearing this, Qin thought for a while. It seemed that the senior sister did not have much involvement in the specific matters of the sect, but she firmly controlled the supreme power of the sect. This is the difference between monks and mortals. If in the mortal kingdom, the emperor does not ask about the affairs of the court for a long time, and it will not take long for the power to fall. But in the power of cultivation, this kind of thing does not happen. Those in power can firmly grasp the power of the sect as long as they ensure that their own strength is ahead of the others, and they can get the most powerful group of people in the sect. As for the specific things in the sect master rarely asks. After all, when the cultivation base has reached the nascent soul stage, it is possible that it will take dozens or even hundreds of years to retreat for a single retreat. Do you still need to cultivate? Chen Daoxian is the same now. He basically handed over the specific affairs of the family to Chen Daolian. Only major events related to the family's future and destiny will Chen Daolian report to him. As the head of the Chen family, he sometimes acts more like a needle and a flag. Qin shook his head, no longer thought about it, and continued. Senior sister said, if you want to become the leader of this new alliance, you must break through to the primordial spirit stage one step ahead of her. Hearing this, Chen Daoxian frowned but did not speak. What, do you feel stressed again? Qin smiled. Comparing your Chen family and my Qianyuan sword sect, there is indeed a huge gap in strength. If you want to be the leader of this alliance, you must have the strength to suppress the heroes. Although the second floor of the world realm surpasses the top level of Qianyuan sword sect, but it can't surpass my senior sister, not to mention that your current cultivation level is not comparable to my senior sister. Hearing this, Chen Daoxian sighed and said, "It seems that the trip to Liangjiyuan is inevitable. You're thinking, well, I want to go to Tianzuan City and find someone to refine Xinyuan pill?" Qin Zhan nodded. "Your current cultivation is at the first level of nascent soul. If you refine 300 years of Shangyuan fruit into Shangyuan Dan, it is conservatively estimated that you can refine 3, which is enough for you to raise your cultivation to 100%. Nascent soul is at its peak. The peak of nascent soul, the second floor of the world. This cultivation base and the realm of the Great Tao are only on par with concubine Qinxue. This is not to mention that Chen Daoxuan's body training is behind Fei Qinxue. However, Chen Daoxuan's cultivation had really reached this point, and Fei Qinxue forcibly pushed him to the throne of the alliance leader, which was barely reasonable. Otherwise, with Chen Daoxuan's first-level cultivation base, even if his Dao realm reaches the second level of the world realm, there will be a large number of people who will not be convinced. After all, the alliance between the Chen family and Qianyuan Jianzong, sharing the ruling authority of Qianyuan Jianzong, has already made the high-level quarrel of Qianyuan Jianzong. Let Chen Daoxian serve as the leader of this alliance. The difficulty is no less than letting concubine Qinxue abdicate directly and cede the position of suzerain to Chen Daoxian. One can imagine how exaggerated the difficulty is. 7017K. Chapter 425. The Peak of Yuaning. Chen Daoxian muttered immediately. His gaze became extremely firm. He knew that Fei Qinxue advocated an alliance between Qianyuan Jianzong and the Chen family, and elected him as the leader of this alliance, which would definitely be unanimously opposed by Qianyuan Jianzong. He could even imagine that the disciples of Qianyuan sword sect might privately claim that concubine Qinxue betrayed the sect. Fei Qinxue was under so much pressure for him. Of course Chen Daoxian would not disappoint the other party. Besides, only with a strong own strength can one survive in the coming chaos. It is a matter of time before the demon court unifies the real demon world. Although Chen Daoxian has a layout in the real demon world, it is still unknown how much trouble it can cause the demon court to integrate the real demon world. Even if Chen Daoxuan's layout can bring certain obstacles to the unification of the demon court, the obstacles must be very limited. The reason is very simple: Wan Xinghai's strength is insufficient. In the general battle between the real demon world and the phoenix world, strength is the foundation. Chen Daoxuan's layout is only a trail after all. Of course, although it is a trail, it can also bring more buffer time for the rise of Wan Xinghai and his own growth. The later the demon court unites the real demon world, the later the war between the two worlds will break out. With Chen Daoxuan's talent, he will definitely be able to break through to a higher level before the war between the two worlds. According to Chen Daoxuan's own thoughts, he intends to break through the cultivation base to the transcendence period before the war between the two worlds completely breaks out. As for the Mahayana true immortal, Chen Daoxian dare not think about it because no one in the Phoenix meteor world has been able to achieve this level of cultivation for hundreds of thousands of years. There must be some fortunate secrets that he does not yet understand. However, Chen Daoxian is bound to gain the cultivation base during the robbery period. Only when his cultivation reached the transcending tribulation period, the two major forces of the Chen family and the Qianyuan sword sect under his control could barely rank at the top of the Phoenix meteor realm. In the future, a war between the two worlds will break out, and in the entire Phoenix meteor world, I am afraid that only the top heavenly venerate level forces will not be sacrificed as cannon fodder. Chen Daoxuan's closed room. Qin Zhan took a deep look at Chen Daoxian and said, "I have brought all the things and words that senior sister asked me to bring, and it is up to you what to do next." Chen Daoxian nodded, cupped his hands and said, "Brother Qin, walk slowly." The words just finished. Qin Zhan's figure instantly disappeared in front of Chen Daoxian. Watching Qin Zhan leave, Chen Daoxian couldn't help clenching the gourd in his hand. Think about it. Chen Daoxian swept away his consciousness and found Luo Li, who was cultivating in the immortal mansion. Chen Lang. Luo Li withdrew from the state of refining spiritual energy, raised his head in surprise, and looked at the empty retreat room. "It's me." Chen Daoxuan's voice rang in Luo Li's ears. He hesitated. "Liar, I have something to tell you." Hearing Chen Daoxuan's tone, Luo Li immediately froze. The last time Chen Daoxian spoke to her in this tone, he told her that the other party wanted to become a Taoist companion with Fei Chanxue. Now when Chen Daoxian spoke to her in this tone again, Luo Li had to be nervous. You said. Chen Daoxian said a little embarrassedly, "I have to retreat for a period of time. And after this retreat is over I may have to go out again, shut up again?" Luo Li frowned. "You didn't just break through the nascent soul stage. And you said that you have already consolidated your realm so you don't need to retreat anymore. Why?" "I want to condense the indestructible real body," Chen Daoxian said bluntly. "Hurt." Luo Li nodded with a complicated expression. "Chen Lang retreats with peace of mind. I will take care of the family affairs with Sister Dao Lian. Thank you." Hearing this, Luo Li's face suddenly softened. "It's not hard." After notifying Luo Li, Chen Daoxian prepared to retreat again. He retreated this time to prepare to raise his body training to the level of condensing his indestructible true body. Divided according to the realm of body training, condensing the indestructible real body is probably equivalent to the level of qi refining and cultivation at the peak of Yuanying's peak. That is to say, once Chen Daoxian condenses his indestructible real body, his body cultivation practice can surpass his qi cultivation practice in one fell swoop. Since cultivating the true body of the demon god of Dutian, Chen Daoxuan's body refinement can be described as 1,000 miles in a day. Under the premise of sufficient body refining resources, his body refining speed is almost not much slower than the speed of taking Shangyuan Gua to improve his qi cultivation. I had been practicing for a few days before Chen Daoxian broke through from the skull-shattering realm to the blood-dropping realm, and then he quickly raised his body training to the peak of the blood-dropping realm. Moreover, the fire of the devil in his Tanzhong cave had already begun to transform in advance. Chen Daoxian had a hunch that as long as he provided sufficient blood marrow, the fire of the devil would be transformed into a higher level in an instant. Even with the power level of the fire of the demon god, it is not under the infant fire of ordinary nascent soul cultivators. Infant fire is a kind of spirit fire secret technique specially cultivated by the nascent soul stage artifact refiners and alchemists, in order to refine magic tools and refine medicine pills. The power of infant fire is not a big threat to nascent soul cultivators of the same level. But no matter what, it is also a spiritual fire secret technique that can only be mastered at the nascent soul level. Chen Daoxuan's fire of the devil can be compared to the spiritual fire secret technique of the Yuanying monks at the level of blood dripping. In the secret room, Chen Daoxian tapped his chest. A dark gray flame with a pure black core at the core slowly floated out from the Tanzhong point. It is the fire of the devil that he cultivated. Looking at the mysterious flame in front of him, Chen Daoxian fell into contemplation. He had already tried the power of this demonic fire in the demon country of Qingqiu. The Demon King level world demon at the golden core level can't stop it from being roasted at all. It only takes a moment to burn the opponent to ashes. You must know that this is not a simple matter. The Demon King level demons, their fleshly bodies are comparable to those of the body refining cultivators in the blood dripping realm. In other words, even Chen Daoxian without any protection could not stop the fire power of this group of demon gods. Although this group of demon gods' fire is far from Chen Daoxuan's strongest fusion law attack, its potential is not bad at all. Only at the peak level of the blood-dripping realm, this group of demon fire can sweep the Demon King level realm demon. Then to further integrate into the true meaning of immortality, wouldn't it be able to sweep away the demon master? It's not even the scariest. According to the records in the practice of Dutian Demon God Real Body, there are 12 kinds of Dutian Demon God Real Body, and each kind of Demon God Real Body will have a chance to transform into supernatural powers when they cultivate to the realm of immortality. And the transformation behind Zhu Rongjin is the fire of this demon. These are all clearly recorded in the exercises. That is to say, once Chen Daoxian can condense into Zhu Rong's true body, his fire of the devil will usher in a complete transformation. Before, the reason why Chen Daoxian didn't have the confidence to practice was because of the shortage of body refining resources. This Dutian Demon God Real Body is good in everything, but it consumes too much training resources. The conjoined resources in Chen Daoxuan's hands are enough for 100 body-refining cultivators to cultivate from zero to the realm of indestructible true meaning, but he has only cultivated to the peak of the blood-dropping realm. The difference between them is simply unreasonable. In the short term, 100 people's body training resources are nothing, but what about in the future? Don't forget, the more a monk cultivates to the later stage, the more exaggerated the consumption of resources. Moreover, the body refining resources consumed in the early stage are hundreds of times that of ordinary monks, and there may be more in the future. In the face of this gold-swallowing beast technique, even the rich and powerful Chen Daoxian couldn't stand it. Fortunately, this time he secretly controlled the 4 major demon nations and tapped into the physical refining resources of the 4 major demon nations. So Chen Daoxian made a fortune. According to Qin Zhan's statement, Fei Chen Shui had sent all the body refining resources in greenwood steel that were excavated by the 4 great demon kingdoms to Chen Daoxian. Although some of the mines in the 4 major demon kingdoms still remain, Chen Daoxian estimates that the remaining resources are probably not many, maybe not even 1/10 of what he has in his hands. It could be said that Fei Chen Shui was already doing her best to support him in his position. Chen Daoxian is not a fool, of course he can feel this kindness. Raising his hand, Chen Daoxian looked at the gourd in his hand, and rubbed his left hand gently as if the gourd still had the remaining warmth of Fei Chen Shui. Subsequently, his eyes looked in the direction of Qinyuan's sword sect. Wait for me, Chen Daoxian said silently. Qinyuan's sword sect. A majestic fairy palace stands above the clouds. Outside the immortal palace, clouds steaming in Xiaowei, and groups of cranes flying by, are extremely beautiful. A figure suddenly appeared in the fairy palace. It was Qin Zhan. Have things been delivered? Inside the immortal palace, concubine Chen Shui was wearing a long lavender dress. Sitting in front of the desk, holding a paintbrush in her hand, she was drawing lightly with ink. Looking at the painting on the rice paper, it is a picture of a crane in the sunset. Qin Zhan nodded. Deliver it? Okay. Fei Chen Shui turned her head back without raising her head, and began to concentrate on painting again. At this time, Qin Zhan couldn't bear it any longer and said, Senior sister, I admit that Brother Chen's talent is amazing. Even if it is you and me, it is far inferior to him, but you promised to make Qinyuan Jianzong alliance with the Chen family, and recommend him as the leader. Alliance leader is the bet too big. Hearing this, Fei Chen Shui raised her head, looked at Qin Zhan and sighed. Junior brother, what do you think will happen once the demon court unites with the true demon realm? 2 worlds war. Qin Zhan was decisive and did not hesitate. Fei Chen Shui nodded. Yes, the war between the 2 worlds, junior brother. At that time, where will my Qinyuan sword sect go? This Qin Zhan choked for a moment. In terms of strength, my Qinyuan sword sect can only be regarded as a second-rate sect, and in terms of background, my Qinyuan sword sect has no background. Although my Qinyuan sword sect inheritance is not weak, it is also a true immortal inheritance, but our true immortal inheritance is different from other families. You should be very clear about this reason. Hearing this, Qin Zhan fell silent. Indeed, it is different from those top sects and top families. Although everyone is a true immortal inheritance, there are differences between the true immortal inheritance and the true immortal inheritance. Just like the Zhang family, its ancestors developed little by little. Before the ancestor of the Zhang family ascended to the upper realm, the Zhang family was already the top force in the Phoenix Meteor realm. Coupled with the pile of cards left by Zhang Laozu, the Zhang family has survived hundreds of thousands of years, and still firmly occupies the seat of the top forces in the Fengyun world. The Qinyuan sword sect was different. Although in terms of Taoism, Qinyuan Jianzong is also a true immortal Taoist. But it is a sect that was established casually before the ascension of Qinyuan Zhenxian. In the ancient times, there was a group of true immortals who were unwilling to cut off their Taoism before their ascension, so they left some instruments and exercises to establish a sect before their ascension. Qinyuan Jianzong was established in that period. In the Fengyun world, there are many sects like Qinyuan Jianzong, which were established by the Mahayana real immortals, but most of them have disappeared in the long river of history. Only a few of them have survived to this day. After all, hundreds of thousands of years are really too long, so long that even the heavenly venerate transcends tribulation. I don't know how many people have been seated. It is a miracle in itself that Qianyuan Jianzong can persist until now. Because in these hundreds of thousands of years, even the top forces have vanished, let alone a second-rate sect like Qianyuan Jianzong. After a long while, Qin Zhan raised his head. So senior sister thinks that the vitality of my Qianyuan sword sect is in Daochan? Right, Fei Chenxua nodded, then looked out the window again. The troubled times are coming. Twin Lakes Island. Patriarch Immortal Mansion. In the secret room, Chen Daoxian has been in retreat for 3 days. For 3 days, for the nascent soul cultivator, it was like a flick of a finger. But for Chen Daoxian, these 3 days were not easy. The Gourd Cave Heaven artifact, which Fei Chenxua asked Qin Zhan to personally send, is the latest type of Cave Heaven artifact created by Qianyuan Jianzong. Its internal space is more than 10 times larger than the small tower cave that Chen Daoxian obtained. This is the first time Chen Daoxian has seen such a large cave artifact. This portable cave artifact is different from the Chun family's large transport ship. Although the Chun family's large transport ship also has a cave inside, the transport ship itself is very large, and the cave it accommodates is naturally very large. But the gourd in his hand is different. Chen Daoxian can hold this gourd with one hand, and it is not an easy task to embed such a big cave inside. Of course, compared with the various resources contained in this Dongtian magical artifact, this gourd Dongtian magical artifact is nothing. These 3 days, Chen Daoxian used this dark gray devil fire to frantically refine the blood marrow in the Gourd Cave Heaven magical tool. Because there are too many blood marrow in the gourd, Chen Daoxian is too lazy to use his spiritual sense to count them. For the past 3 days he has been repeating an action that is taking blood marrow refining again. 3 days of work, under this almost crazy refining. The fire of the devil in Chen Daoxian's Tanzhong cave finally had a new change. Compared with before, Chen Daoxian's demon fire has changed from dark gray to pure black. At first glance, the fire of the devil was dark and frightening. When he opened his mouth and spit, the fire of the devil spit out from Chen Daoxian's mouth, and then quietly suspended in front of him. Chen Daoxian stared at the pure black demon fire and muttered, "I don't know if you can refine black crystals now." In the past 3 days, Chen Daoxian used all the refined blood marrow to enhance the fire of the devil, not to enhance his physical strength. Because Chen Daoxian firmly believes that sharpening knives does not mistake chopping wood. Therefore, his body training is still the same as before, only the peak of the blood-dripping realm. Now that Demon God's fire has successfully transformed, of course he has to further improve his body refinement cultivation base in one fell swoop. 7017K. Chapter 426. Quiet Indoors. The pure black fire of the demon god was quietly suspended. Chen Daoxian breathed a sigh of relief, and took out a black crystal from the Gourd Cave heavenly artifact. It is the inextinguishable true meaning, condensate 1 by 1 black crystal. The surface of the black crystal is extremely hard, and even with Chen Daoxian's physical body, pure strength alone cannot shake it. Chen Daoxian raised his hand and slowly threw the black crystal into the pure black fire of the devil. Laugh. I saw that the black crystal melted instantly as if the ice and snow met the scorching sun. Immediately afterwards, an inexplicable breath rushed towards his body from the black fire of the devil. This is. Chen Daoxian only felt that the strength of his physical body, which had fallen into a bottleneck, began to increase sharply. Every moment he felt the surging power that was constantly pouring out of his flesh. This power is very pure, completely different from the power of the law. It is pure physical power since there is no reference. Chen Daoxian does not know the extent of his current physical strength, but he knows that his physical body has definitely broken the boundary of the blood drop realm and entered a new realm. Unexpectedly, the practice of Zhu Rong's real body is completely different from the traditional body refining method. It is not a brutal integration of the inextinguishable true meaning into the flesh and blood, but is refined by the fire of the devil, and then integrated into the flesh. Chen Daoxian said silently. Chen Daoxian couldn't be more clear about the benefits of doing this. Although the body refining treasure of indestructible true meaning is good, it has a disadvantage, that is, a body refining cultivator cannot incorporate too much inextinguishable true meaning into the body at one time. If the cultivator does not control it well and integrates too many inextinguishable true meanings at one time, it is possible that the cultivator's flesh body is completely assimilated by the inextinguishable true meaning. As a result, the cultivator's body turned into an invisible black mist. Unexplained cultivators may think that the fleshly body turned into an invisible and intangible black mist form. Isn't it similar to the legendary immortal body? Actually, the two are completely different. Immortal body is a brand new body condensed by monks who successfully transcended tribulation and broke through to Mahayana true immortal. After being forged by multiple forces, it is also called immortal body. And the body of an ordinary monk cannot be compared with it at all. Although from the outside, the physical body assimilated by the true meaning of immortality will have some characteristics of the immortal body, but the cultivator's consciousness will completely turn into nothingness at the moment when the physical body is assimilated by the true meaning of immortality. At that time, monks cannot be called monks but the new meaning of immortality. There are many powerful cultivators in the Phoenix Meteor realm, and the true demon realm guessing that the true meaning of immortality may be derived from the flesh and blood of some powerful creatures. And the real body of Zhu Rong, who was cultivated by Chen Daoxian, had no such worries at all. Because in essence, the increase in the strength of his physical body does not rely on the direct integration of indestructible true meaning into the physical body, but a special substance that has been refined by the fire of the devil. Chen Daoxian didn't know what to call this substance, but he had previously madly improved his body refinement cultivation, all of which depended on this special substance. The resources that are equivalent to his improving the physical strength are chewed by the fire of the devil, and all harmful substances have been filtered out. Chen Daoxuan's thoughts couldn't help drifting away after feeling the crazy improvement of his body training. Body cultivation can be improved wildly in this way, but what about qi cultivation? For a time Chen Daoxian couldn't help thinking a lot. Like body refining resources, qi refining resources also contain many harmful substances, such as the most common medicinal pills. Why can't you be reckless when you practice taking medicine pills? It is because there is a thing called erysipelas in the medicine pill. No matter how clever an alchemist is, it is impossible to completely remove the erysipelas in the medicine pill, but it can only be said to try to get rid of it as much as possible. But in this way, cultivators will inevitably encounter many problems when they cultivate with the help of medicinal pills. For example, the efficiency of taking pills to cultivate, such as not taking pills in large quantities and so on. If this fire of the devil can also refine the harmful substances in the medicine pill, doesn't this mean that his qi refining cultivation can be similar to his body refining cultivation? As long as he has enough resources, he can improve unscrupulously. After cultivators reach the nascent soul stage, the first element that hinders cultivators from improving their cultivation is often no longer resources, but the realm of the Tao. But what Chen Daoxian is most afraid of is to improve the realm of the Tao. For a long time, due to the existence of the Hongmeng Enlightenment Classic, the speed of Chen Daoxuan's improvement in the realm of the Tao has far exceeded the speed of his cultivation. Even if Chen Daoxian took the treasures that quickly improved his cultivation many times, he would not be able to keep up with the improvement of the realm of the Tao. It is estimated that in the entire Fengyun world, Chen Daoxian is also the only person who is troubled by the rapid improvement of the Tao realm. The cultivation base can't keep up with the realm, although in the eyes of outsiders, it will create an illusion of sweeping the same level of invincibility. But Chen Daoxian doesn't need to sweep the same level invincible. What he needs is a strong strength. If his cultivation reached the primordial spirit stage, his strength would be at least 10 times or even 100 times stronger than he is now. Isn't this much more real than some invincible title of the same rank? After all, on the battlefield, whoever plays with you will be the general. In the battlefield outside the two worlds, the battle between monks and world demons only depends on one thing: one's strength. Yuanshan-level demons attack the monks in the Yuanying period, and it is commonplace in the battlefield outside the two realms. Similarly, high-level human monks also often slaughter low-level demons. On the battlefield outside the territory, the world demon can't bully the small without telling the monks. Even for their own safety, many high-level world monsters specially hunted and killed human monks with lower cultivation levels than them on the battlefield outside the territory. Not only the world monsters, the human monks have been on the battlefield outside the territory for a long time, and they will become unscrupulous because their no rules are more important than survival. This is very different from the sect battle within the Fengyun realm. Although a large-scale war broke out between Qianyuan Jianzong and Xianqing Dao League, it was rare that high-level monks massacred low-level monks. Even if there is, it is only a small-scale slaughter. And Qianyuan Jianzong will also try to cover it up. For example, Ji Suhui, a cultivator of the Ji family who was killed by Qian Daoxian, was an executioner who often slaughtered low-level cultivators on the battlefield of Izumo. When he ended, he was ordered by Qianyuan Jianzong to be transferred back, and he was not allowed to step into the battlefield of Iron Kingdom for the rest of his life. Because the struggle between the sects of the Fengyun realm is essentially a competition for interests and resources. It's not that one side wants to completely exterminate everyone on the other side. Although the Qianyuan sword sect has now brought the Izumo kingdom under its control, the Qianyuan sword sect has not violated the countless mortals and loose cultivators of the Izumo country. On the contrary, Qianyuan Jianzong issued a decree to protect the safety of Izumo mortals and loose cultivators as soon as they occupied Izumo, which quickly stabilized people's hearts and the situation. The world demon is different. In the battlefield outside the two worlds, there is no compromise between the human monks and the world monsters. As long as one party is convinced that it can kill the other party, it will definitely kill the other party. Human monks sometimes keep their hands because they have a secret technique similar to Soul Seal, which can enslave the demons. The world demons rarely keep their hands. In the battlefield outside the two realms, once the human race cultivator is defeated, the only fate is to become the nourishment of the source realm in the world demon. Therefore, after entering the extraterritorial battlefield, the first lesson that monks need to learn is to throw away all kindness and use all kinds of unscrupulous means to the extreme. Only in this way can it be possible to survive on the battlefield outside the territory. Of course, not everyone needs this, such as some strong people with absolute strength. Now, because the two sides did not break out a large-scale war in the extraterritorial battlefield, the fighting between the two sides is limited to the Yuanshan stage and below. Therefore, some of the top powerhouses in the Yuanshan period have become absolutely unprovoked existences in the extraterritorial battlefield. This knowledge is absolutely necessary for cultivators who go to the battlefield outside the territory for the first time, because at the critical moment, this knowledge may save your little life. Chen Daoxuan's strength is a hard-to-find opponent in Wan Xinghai, but in the battlefield outside the two realms of the two realms, he is not a strong man. The true monarch on the second floor of the world realm, although he is not at the bottom of the battlefield outside the two realms abyss. But it is definitely not a top powerhouse. In the battlefield outside the territory, Yuanshan Daojun dare not say that he has absolute self-protection power. This is also the reason why many first-class sects in the Fengyun world dare not send monks to the battlefield outside the territory. Because in the first-class sect, Yuanshan Daojun is the top-level power, and this level of power is only consumable in the field outside the territory. Quiet indoors. With the transformation of demon god's fire, it can refine black crystals with little effort at all. Chen Daoxuan's physical strength was rapidly increased under the special substance fed back by the fire of the devil. This kind of rocket-like training speed Chen Daoxian simply couldn't stop. Unlike taking Xingyuan fruit, that thing is too rare after all. Although the true meaning of immortality is also very precious, compared with the only Saint Yuan fruit in the entire Fengyun realm, there are many more channels to obtain it. Only using the fire of the devil to refine the inextinguishable true meaning can be comparable to the cultivation speed of taking Shangyuan fruit. Who can resist? In the gourd magic implement, the mountain of black crystals accumulated rapidly diminished. Chen Daoxuan's physical body, in less than a day, has risen to the threshold of condensing the indestructible real body. But at this time his body training was stuck again. To be precise, it's not that his body training is stuck, but his demon god's fire is accumulating energy for promotion again. Chen Daoxian found that compared to body training, Zhu Rongzhenshin's body training method seems to be more focused on the fire of the devil. Because the resources consumed by promoting this group of devil fire are far higher than simply improving the physical strength, I don't know how much higher. The Dongtian artifact sent by Qin Zhan could contain more than 90% of the black crystals from the 4 major demon kingdoms. It is no exaggeration to say that these black crystals are almost enough for all the nascent soul cultivators in the entire Wangxinghai to condense their indestructible true bodies. Fei Qinxue sent such a large amount of body refining resources directly, which shows how much she supports from Chan Daoxian. Without any exaggeration, the resources in this gourd-shaped cave-like artifact in Chen Daoxuan's hands are more than 10 times more precious than all the assets of the Chen family combined. This wealth, even for Qianyuan Jianzong, is an amazing wealth. But concubine Chanxue quietly ordered Qin Zhan to send it to Chan Daoxian. Therefore, Chen Daoxian will say that he will not forget these words of this kindness. But gradually, Chen Daoxian discovered that some of these resources were not enough for him to be promoted to this group of devil fire. How so? For months later, Chen Daoxian was stunned. For 4 full months, this group of demon gods fire maintained a high-speed refining and swallowing black crystal for 4 months, but there was no change in the slightest. It can't be said that there is no change. Chen Daoxian feels that its color seems to have become deeper. Other than that, nothing has changed. As for the power of the fire of the devil, Chen Daoxian is not very clear, but thinking about the consumption of so many resources, the power will not be low. But this is not what Chen Daoxian cares about. He needs this group of demon fire to be promoted, and then he needs to condense Zhu Rong's real body. Because once Zhu Rong's real body is condensed successfully, his demon fire will usher in a complete transformation. At that time, Chen Daoxian estimated that even if he did not break through to the primordial spirit stage, with this spirit fire secret technique, he would still be able to gain a foothold in the extraterritorial battlefield. Although he is mentally prepared, he will go to the battlefield outside the 2 realms to find out. But after all, it is different from Wanxinghai and Xianyun continent. Its danger level is many times higher than that of Phoenix Meteor Realm. Although Chen Daoxian went there not to fight, but to beg someone to refine Xianyuan pill. But without enough strength, how can you protect yourself in an extraterritorial battlefield, where war may break out at any time? It is precisely because of this that Chen Daoxian did not hesitate to spend a lot of resources, and wanted to completely improve his cultivation to the extreme before going to the extraterritorial battlefield. Unfortunately, God did not wish. He envisaged to raise the cultivation base to the realm of condensing the indestructible real body, which is destined to be impossible to achieve. Half-year later, the door and formation of the quiet room opened. The exhausted Chen Daoxian slowly walked out of the closed room. Chen Lang. In the quiet room, Luo Li, who saw Chen Daoxian, immediately greeted him with concern in his eyes. Looking at Luo Li, Chen Daoxuan's exhaustion seemed to have disappeared. He gently opened his hand and embraced the beautiful woman in his arms. He buried his head forcefully into the other's thick hair and took a deep breath. Afterwards, Chen Daoxian raised his head, looked at Luo Li's haggard eyes and said softly, "Didn't I say so? I'm just improving my body training. I don't need to protect the law for me." Luo Li shook his head, buried his head in Chen Daoxuan's arms, and did not speak. Seeing this, Chen Daoxian quietly embraced her, enjoying the silence of this moment. But soon, this quiet atmosphere was broken. Luo Li seemed to notice something, and like a frightened rabbit, broke away from Chen Daoxuan's arms. Chen Daoxian let go of Luo Li, and narrowed his eyes slightly as he looked at the escaping light from far to near. "Patriarch, are you out?" As the light of escape fell, Chen Daochu saw Chen Daoxian with a surprised expression on his face. Immediately afterwards, Chen Daochu's face changed from surprise to joy, and he said with joy, "That's great, I was going to call you before I came. What's the matter, so happy?" "Patriarch, look," Chen Daochu said, and immediately handed a storage ring to Chen Daoxian. Chen Daoxian took the storage ring, swept away his consciousness, and a look of joy appeared on his face. The speed of the refining hall is really fast. 7017 K. Chapter 427. Qianyuan Sword Sect. A figure suddenly appeared in front of the Zhongmen Great Formation. "Stop the comers!" In the Mountain Protection Formation, a voice sounded in Chen Daoxuan's ear. Immediately afterwards, a series of escaping lights quickly flew out of the formation, And when the patrolling disciples saw the person coming, they were all shocked. Chan Jinren. No, the younger generation pays respect to Chan Jinjuan. The leading disciples of Qinyuan Jianzong hurriedly bowed to Chan Daoxian. The patrolling disciples behind him all followed him and saluted Chan Daoxian together. Chan Daoxian nodded, took out a few bottles of medicinal pills from the storage ring at will, and sent them out to everyone, saying bluntly, "I'm here to see Fei Chenxue." Hearing this, everyone looked at each other in dismay. In recent days, the rumors in the sect that the sect master and Chan Daoxian, the patriarch of the Chan family, are about to become Taoist companions, have not stopped. Of course, these patrolling disciples also heard about it. Especially when they heard Chan Daoxian's title to the sect master. There was a sense of resentment in their hearts. Why? Their Qinyuan sword sect is the ruler of Wan Xinghai, and even if the Chan family leader is astonishingly talented, it is impossible to take the position of Qinyuan sword sect master. Seeing that several of the inspecting disciples present did not accept the medicinal pill he sent, nor opened the mountain protection formation, Chan Daoxian finally felt the hostility of the Qinyuan sword sect disciples towards him. Previously, he heard Qin Zhan say that the disciples of the Qinyuan sword sect were very repelled by his marriage with his concubine Chan Shui, and he didn't feel deeply. Now he finally felt deeply. "Why don't you even want me in this sect?" Chan Daoxian smiled slightly. "Junior dare not." Although the leading inspecting disciples said that they did not dare, they did not mean to open the mountain protection formation for Chan Daoxian at all. Just when the two sides were deadlocked, a cold voice entered everyone's ears. "Bold! Whose disciples are you guys, so ignorant of etiquette? How dare you neglect this distinguished guest?" Chan Daoxian immediately heard that this was concubine Chengshi's voice. "Sect master, forgive me, we." A group of inspecting disciples were trembling with fear, bowed their heads and were speechless. "Go to the punishment hall by yourself to receive the punishment." Yes. The head of the patrolling disciple was like an eggplant beaten by frost, bowing his head, not daring to defend himself. After concubine Chenxue finished her lesson and inspected the disciples, Qinyuan Jianzong's mountain protection formation slowly opened. Chan Daoxian didn't even look at them. He stepped into the mountain protection formation and disappeared in front of everyone in an instant. "Brother, what should we do now?" The rest of the disciples looked at the patrolling disciple at the head and asked. "Let's go to the punishment hall to receive the punishment." The leading patrolling disciple sighed. Beside him, a junior brother who was close to him persuaded him. "Senior brother, you and I are only in the Purple Palace period. Why bother to go to this muddy water?" Hearing this, the inspecting disciple headed up and said solemnly, "Qinyuan sword sect is not the sect of the sect master, but the sect of all the disciples of my Qinyuan sword sect. Even if the suzerain is in front of me today, I, Zhenghui, still have this attitude. Senior brother, no need to say more. Let's go and receive the punishment together." "Yeah, the sect master's decision, even if we don't agree, what can we do?" "Alas, Qinyuan Jianzong, give it up." Some people sigh, some are discouraged. But their attitudes were surprisingly consistent. That is, they did not agree with the marriage of Fei Chenxue and Chan Daoxian, let alone the alliance between Qinyuan Jianzong and the Chan family. Fei Chengshi's dojo. In front of a majestic Asgard, a young cultivator with a playful expression on his face looked at Chan Daoxian in front of him and said, Are you shriveled?" Chan Daoxian nodded and sighed. "What you said before was too polite, where are they? Disagreeing with the alliance of you and me is simply hostile." Qin Zhan shook his head. "You also have to understand these disciples of Zongmen. In their eyes, Qinyuan Jianzong is the ruler of Wangxinghai. But now, the Chun family not only wants to share the ruling authority of our clan, but senior sister also intends to recommend you as the leader of this alliance. Can they not be hostile to you? Your senior sister has suffered." After a long while, Chan Daoxian choked out such a sentence. "You still have some conscience." Qin Zhan pursed his lips. "I know that your talent is amazing and your future achievements are limitless, but my senior sister is not someone who covets your support in the future. I know what your senior sister thinks." Chan Daoxian nodded solemnly. Fei Chenxue was willing to marry him. Maybe 90% of the reason was for the future of the sect, but there were indeed some elements that matched his eyes. This point Chen Daoxian can feel in his dealings with each other. Come in, my sister is waiting for you inside. Farewell. Chen Daoxian cupped his hands and walked into the Asgard. Qin Zhang glanced at Chen Daoxian's back, his figure flashed, and he disappeared in place in an instant. Inside Asgard, a slender woman in a white fairy dress turned her back to him and looked at the sea of clouds outside the window. Chen Daoxian silently walked to her side and accompanied her to watch the scenery outside the window. Congratulations on breaking through the nascent soul period. Fei Chenxue turned her head sideways. A sincere smile appeared on her pretty face. Thanks. Chen Daoxian paused. Did you and my alliance cause you a lot of trouble? Fei Chenxue looked at Chen Daoxian intently and said firmly, Don't worry, I can handle this. Hear this. Chen Daoxian no longer speaks. Up to now, he can only trust each other. Your troubles may be greater than mine. Fei Chenxue looked at Chen Daoxian. Liangjiyuan is not as simple as you think. Compared to the inside of Fengyun realm, the extraterritorial battlefield of Liangjiyuan is far more dangerous. There, the most elite forces of the two worlds were assembled. Even, there are true immortal-level existences on the side of the world monsters who are sitting in Liangjiyuan all year round. Fei Chenxue sighed. In the battlefield outside Liangjiyuan, my human cultivator has always been at a disadvantage. For hundreds of thousands of years, we can only rely on the true immortals who have ascended to the upper realm to leave formations and build a defense line in order to resist the invasion of the world monsters. But as the integration of the two worlds continues to advance, this line of defense has become precarious. Once this line of defense is broken, it may not be necessary for the demon court to unify the real demon world, and countless world demons will completely enter our Phoenix meteor realm. Seeing Fei Chengshu's worried appearance, Chen Daoxian said with relief, No matter what we need to do most is to improve our strength. Only in this way can we deal with all the crises that may arise in the future. Fei Chenxue looked at him, nodded and said, You are right. After thinking about it, Chen Daoxian suggested, I have an idea. Go ahead. Concubine Chenxue said in a serious tone. You know my Chen family's Magic Weapon Research Institute, right? Concubine Chenxue nodded. I heard a little bit, you told me last time, but unfortunately I couldn't visit one or two. In Fei Chengshu's mind, the Chen family's Magical Instrument Research Institute should be a functional department similar to the Qianyuan Jianzong's Artifact Refining Hall. Chen Daoxian didn't know what Concubine Chenxue was thinking, and continued. Although the alliances of you and me are temporarily hindered, we can first integrate Qianyuan Jianzong's Item Refining Hall and my Chen family's Magic Item Research Institute into together. You mean I want to use the talents of your Artifact Refining Hall and the model of the Chen Family Artifact Research Institute to create a unique artifact research institution. Hearing this, Fei Chenxue thought for a while. Then who should be in charge of this newly established department? You are in charge. Chen Daoxian continued. My younger brother Chen Daochu is in charge of establishing a new model for the Research Institution of Magical Instruments, and the Hall Master Hu Yan is in charge of the deployment of talents for refining instrument. Chen Daoxuan's move can be said to have handed over the most core magic weapon research institute of the Chen family. But at the same time he also gained countless refining geniuses from Qianyuan sword sect. If these artifact refining geniuses were cultivated by the Chen family, it would take hundreds or even thousands of years. The craftsmen of Qianyuan sword sect have been selected and cultivated from generation to generation before they can have their current scale. It is impossible for the Chen family to catch up in a short time. One of the reasons why the Chen family's Magical Instrument Research Institute has been able to repeatedly produce significant results is that Chen Daoxian gave them a clear research goal. Another important reason is the great role played by the preaching function of the Hongmeng Enlightenment Classic. Without these two cofactors, Chen Daochu and the others wanted to come up with a series of research results, such as the Magic Tool Machine tool and the Talisman Lithography Machine, which is simply a dream. The Qianyuan Sword Sect's refining hall is different. Qianyuan Jianzong can launch a variety of innovative instruments one after another, all relying on the refining masters of the refining hall to play their terrifying talents. Absolutely no outside help. If these two are combined, and the preaching function of the Hongmeng Enlightenment Classic is used at home, Chen Daoxian can't believe what kind of surprises this newly established magic weapon research department can give him in the future. When Fei Chenxue heard that Chen Daoxian had handed over the most important magical instrument research department to her, a smile appeared on the corner of her mouth. Trust is built up little by little, and Fei Chenxue felt that her previous efforts were not in vain. It is good. Fei Chenxue nodded and agreed. After talking about the business, Chen Daoxian gently pulled up the other party's little hand and said, "I'm here to say goodbye to you. I know gone." Okay. Chen Daoxian looked at Fei Chenxue, smiled and disappeared in front of her. From Wanxinghai to Liangjiyuan, the road is extremely long, and it is necessary to use space to transmit a large array. There is only one space teleportation formation from Wanxinghai to Xianyuanzhu, and that is the teleportation formation established by Qianyuan Jianzong. And from the frontier land of Xianyun continent, there is not a single space teleportation formation going to Liangjiyuan. If Chen Daoxian wants to rush to Liangjiyuan, he must use the space of Tianyuanzong to teleport the Great Formation to the core area of Xianyuanzhu Wuji Xianmen. Wuji Xianmen is the first-class sect of Xianyuanzhu. Apart from the top cultivation forces in Liangjiyuan, Wuji Xianmen is the first sect of Xianyuanzhu. Compared with the second-rate sect of Qianyuan Jianzong, the power of its sect is not known how much stronger. Certainly, no matter how strong the power of Wuji Immortal sect is, it is only a first-class sect, and there is no heavenly lord of tribulation in the sect. Otherwise, it would not be a first-class sect but a top-level sect. However, as the strongest first-class sect in Xianyuanzhu, Wuji Xianmen holds a giant space teleportation formation connecting Xianyuanzhu and Liangjiyuan. For hundreds of thousands of years, with this formation Wuji Xianmen has been standing upright. Its background is even stronger than many top-level cultivation forces sitting in Liangjiyuan. In Wuji Xianmen, the number of Yuanshan Daojun is the largest in the entire Phoenix Meteor realm. But what is strange is that there is no heavenly venerate transcending tribulation at the Promise Immortal sect. This time, Chen Daoxian is going to borrow the way from Tianyuanzong to go to Wuji Xianmen, and then take the giant space teleportation formation of Wuji Xianmen to go to Liangjiyuan. This journey should be the longest journey Chen Daoxian has taken. Although his strength is hard to find an opponent among nascent soul cultivators, he can't help but feel a little uneasy. Brush. Chen Daoxian's figure appeared again, already in Jinan Xiancheng. Looking at the familiar and unfamiliar Jinan Pass in front of him, Chen Daoxian's consciousness swept away and enveloped the entire immortal city. Such a move immediately attracted the attention of a Jindan cultivator in the teleportation formation of the Guardian space. Who is so arrogant dare? When the Jindan Xiutu saw Chen Daoxian's figure, he immediately lowered his head and said respectfully, "Meet Chen Zhangjuan." Okay. Chen Daoxian looked at the Jindan cultivator of Qianyuan Jianzong in front of him, and recognized at a glance that this was one of the 6 Jindan cultivators who accompanied him on the expedition to recover Zenangguan. If Chen Daoxian remembers it well, this person seems to be surnamed Zhao. "I haven't seen you for a few years, Dai Zhao. Don't come here without a lamb?" "No lamb. No lamb." The cultivator surnamed Zhao said repeatedly, "I didn't expect that the true monarch still remembers the younger generation." Saying that, the monk surnamed Zhao looked a little excited. In his eyes, Chen Daoxian's later achievements were like myths. Especially recently, there has been a lot of uproar in Qianyuan Jianzong, and he and the suzerain are about to marry. Although he is also a disciple of Qianyuan sword sect, but as a comrade-in-arms who has fought side by side with Chen Daoxian, he does not reject the alliance between the Chen family and Qianyuan sword sect, let alone the marriage between Chen Daoxian and his suzerain. Because as a monk with the same cultivation level as Chen Daoxian back then, he knew too well how terrifying Chen Daoxian's talent was. How many years has it been since the recovery of Zenangguan? The other party is already Yuaning Xinjuan. This kind of cultivation speed, I am afraid that it will take hundreds of years before the other party can become the heavenly lord of tribulation, right? How can such a talented monk not be worthy of his own suzerain? It seems that Qianyuan Jianzong has lost some of Wanxinghai's ruling authority, but it has gained Chen Daoxian, the future super powerhouse. No matter how this deal is calculated, it is worth it. Chat with the monk surnamed Zhao. Chen Daoxian asked casually, Is this town Nangxianqing now under your control? After hearing this, the monk surnamed Zhao showed a strange look on his face. Don't you know, true monarch? Do not know what is this? Chen Daoxian felt a little inexplicable. After hesitating for a moment, the monk surnamed Zhao explained. Now this immortal city in the south of the town is under the control of the young sect master. Qi Yao? Chen Daoxian frowned. Qi Yao recaptured Zhenangguan in the past in order to gain military exploits, so that she could successfully inherit the position of suzerain in the future. But now not only Zhenangguan, but even the entire Izumo kingdom is in the possession of Qinyuan's sword sect. Her young sect master still sits in this immortal city. Isn't she overkill? Seeing that Chen Daoxian showed a puzzled look, the cultivator surnamed Zhao said cautiously, since the news that you and the sect master are about to marry Zhenjuan, the young sect master had a big fight with the sect master, and later, he came here in a fit of anger. Everyone in the sect is preaching. Chen Daoxian saw him hesitating, with a displeased look on his face, and said, Zhao Dao, you said it bluntly. Yes, the cultivator surnamed Zhao hurriedly cupped his hands. Everyone in the sect is saying that it was you, Zhenjuan, who robbed the young sect lord of the sect master's position, and she ran away in frustration. After finishing speaking, the monk surnamed Zhao lowered his head and said nothing. Thank you, Dao Yu Zhao, for clarifying your doubts. Don't dare, the true monarch is serious. The monk surnamed Zhao saluted again and again. 7017K, you're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.